All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome one and all to another episode of the Anime Sovereigns podcast. I am joined here by my illustrious crew, are some more reliable than others. Bruh, okay. It's over. It's fucking over, bro. It's so over. I can't even compliment them without causing problems, bro. It's over. It's but we're all here on this fine Saturday morning to bring you guys and share with you the joys of anime cinema. We've actually been meaning to do an episode on anime films for a long time because this is something that means a lot, particularly to Mr. Jeffrey over there, is big film enthusiast when it comes to the medium. And so it's only fair that we give it a fair shine, fair episode. And so we've all picked out, I believe, 2 movies that we're gonna be taking y'all through, giving you our thoughts and kind of how they impact the medium as a whole, because some of them have quite large impacts in some cases. So should be fun. So who are we starting with? Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Recently rediscovered how awesome anime films can be because of Look Back, you know?
Yeah, true.
Like Look Back aired in theaters like not too long ago and recently got released on streaming platforms. So people have been like watching it like this week and, you know, loving it. Like people are calling it peak, and you know, admittedly it is a very fantastic film, but it
call
just
everything
goes
peak
to show.
nowadays.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
we watched it. It was pretty fantastic, so we're gonna give it that credit. But you know, people are talking about anime films now, and you know, there's like, you know, anime films like on the horizon that people are really excited for. So,
Yeah.
you know, we felt it was a good time to like do a podcast like this where we dig into our catalogs of anime films that we love and would love to share with other people if they have not, you know, heard of them or seen them and such.
Yeah, so before we actually jump into our specific choices, I actually wanted to throw a curveball at you guys, and do a little bit of an opening here, just because I think that it's important to state when we're talking about films and anime that we recognize that they have acted as a gateway for probably more people than you guys think, and in that manner, I would like to talk about, you know, Ghibli films, right? When we talk about Studio Ghibli and how they've contributed to the medium as a whole, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people probably their first anime was one of Ghibli's movies, whichever it may be.
Hey, I'm standing up, bro. I'm raising my hand. That's me.
Yeah, exactly. It was like the first animated anything that I watched from Japan that was subtitled was Howl's Moving Castle. Like I did not watch any series before that. And then after watching this, you know, I started checking out like some of the other stuff like Naruto and whatnot. But yeah, so like it's like one of those things where it's especially because you know, they have the whole distribution deal with like Disney and whatnot. These movies in particular were just on average more available than a lot of other stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff in anime that you have to go out and seek, and then you have to deal with like, you know, platforms having this, platforms having that, and like these movies in particular, like you were much more likely to just run into them. Like I remember being shown this in school. Like it's
in school. That's
yes,
insane, bro.
Yes. Our
school showed it, bro. What's up?
My program at our language program in my high school was like kind of insane, for lack of a better term. So like I took Japanese class. And so like she would like share with us media a lot because she thought media was a very, very important part of the culture, which made a lot of sense. But the craziest part was like if you took at least 3 years of any language, so whether it was Japanese or Spanish or French or whatever, they took you on a field trip to the origin country of whatever language.
Man,
so that's actually how I went to Japan in 2012.
fucking crazy.
I went to Japan in 2012 with my school. Like,
how do y'all have resources?
That Pennsylvania education was different.
okay,
Dylan and I
my
are
school
just
was
like-
huge. Like my school was
Bro,
really big.
Dylan and I are
My
just, like,
marching
cries-
band was 330 members. That's how big our
Okay.
school was. Like it was
Wait,
really
how many?
big.
in Florida and Texas.
330 was our marching band number. My graduating class was 660, I think, something like that. And it was just a lot of fucking people. So
My
that's
school
probably
actually
how
had
they
a
had so many
similar,
resources.
My school had a similar language program, but
Okay.
we didn't go on a field trip. That was if you had the money and resources, you did that on your own, and we're like, yo, this summer I'm gonna go to Japan, and the school would be like, okay, here are resources to help you do that. We can set you up with like a whatchamacallit, a homestay family.
Yeah.
I didn't do that because I didn't have the resources, but
That's
Miguel, you want to
fair,
run by
fair.
our foreign language options in high school
Fucking
again?
cries in Florida and Japan. My Spanish class was taught by a white guy.
We got the
You're
great
in
option.
Miami.
Okay, to be fair, he was like a Jewish dude. He actually spoke Spanish perfectly because he lived in Spain for a while. Like he spoke Spanish better than a lot of native people, and like it's a little bit different because since he learned it, he learned everything proper. I feel like if you learn from a native, it's gonna be a little bit like janky sometimes. But yeah, no, we ain't have that shit. What the fuck? Our
Our
places don't
options
got
were
much.
Spanish or
Spanish and
or
French.
Spanish. Spanish or Spanish.
Oh, only
look at
Spanish.
We get French too. All right, let's go.
Yeah, we did Spanish, French, German, and Japanese. Those are like the 4.
Where the fuck do you find a German someone to teach you German?
Bro, you think
We have the
German
same
people are
language
that uncommon, bro? Like
Yes, the fuck. I've never met
that's
a German
crazy.
person.
That's why would
Oh, I'm
they
talking shit. I met a German person recently, somewhat, and it was through work.
My school also offered Chinese, but
Oh, really? That's dope.
we didn't have a Chinese professor, but the school let you take Chinese through a computer program.
Oh, they
That's
said
kinda
just hop on Duolingo every class.
Yeah, no, the classroom was the school library, and you would hop on like Rosetta Stone, basically.
Getting that robot education.
That's pretty
my
good.
That's
guy.
actually really fucking funny.
Dude, Chinese is such a fucking hard language. I feel like
It is.
no one will ever learn that shit in school.
Yo, dude, we had,
It's
two
probably
people
easier to learn it
trying-
in school than otherwise, to be honest.
I don't know. I feel like you're trying to learn Chinese, you gotta. You probably have to be thrust into the situation, have to figure it out.
The one guy I knew who was taking it, he was like, yeah,
Like,
dude,
fully
honestly, it's pretty lit because there's no professor, there's no teacher. You just kind of sit down and do nothing, and then all you gotta do is keep on guessing on the multiple choice things, and eventually you'll pass.
That's cray.
Well, passing is easy. Absorbing all of the information and internalizing it is not. So
True.
Yeah.
That's definitely facts. All right, and with that, who wants to start us off? Who's gonna kick us off?
dude, I so want to go first. I'm so excited.
Go
Okay,
for it,
which
James.
one?
Bro.
Which one do you want to do first?
Assignment Voice for sure.
Okay.
What a
Oh, you
dope
just watched
movie.
that recently?
Yeah, I know, dude. I did my research before this podcast because I wanted to make sure I knew what I wanted to talk about because there's so much to talk about this film.
God,
I'll be
So-
putting everything we go over in the chat for you guys as well, just in case you guys want clickable links. Feel free. But go ahead.
All right. Yeah, so this is a silent voice, or koi no katachi, whichever you prefer. So I have a feeling that most people know what a silent voice is, but on the off chance that you don't, a silent voice is a 2016 anime film produced by Kyoto Animation, directed by Naoko Yamada, and based on the manga by Yoshitoki Oima. It is safe to say at this point that a silent voice has become a landmark film, not just in Kyoto Animation, but just within the landscape of anime films as a whole. It has strongly maintained its position as one of the highest rated and most positively received anime films since its release, more than 8 years ago at this point. Man, long ass time. You're likely to find it at the top of most anime database websites when searching for the highest rated anime of all time. Not even just limiting that to anime films, but all anime. And just as far as like AniList stats go, because like this is the site that we primarily use, it is actually the second most popular anime film in terms of how many people have interacted with it. It beats out things like Demon Slayer and all of the Ghibli films, which is honestly very surprising to me. Like the jump between like Demon Slayer and A Silent Voice is actually like in like the 200,000s, I think, last time I checked. Which is again so surprising to me. Like Demon Slayer has like a little short of like 400,000, and then 540,000. So a little less than I thought, but that's still like an impressive jump in numbers. Yeah,
that's a lot.
And as you can see, Silent Voice is second only to Your Name, which is not surprising because Your Name has historically overshadowed A Silent Voice because they both released in the same year within a month of each other. So you can imagine that Your Name initially beat out A Silent Voice in terms of like box office sales and how many people went to go see them. But just from like these statistics, the chances are that most people, at the very least, know about A Silent Voice, even if they haven't seen it themselves.
Agreed.
A little bit about like the substance of the film. So the core themes of the film is communication and understanding. So it is about the challenges we face as humans when we want to have like a deep connection with somebody but are unable to do so verbally. So we have to find different avenues through which we can achieve more expressive and authentic forms of communication to better understand others as well as better understand ourselves. And like these ideas are explored through the relationship between the two main characters. So we got Shoya Ishida, who is a boy with a bit of an unsavory past, let's just say, and has a track record of being pretty terrible at communicating how he truly feels about many things. And then there's Shoko Nishimiya, who is a girl who was born deaf and has had to live with the difficult social struggles that deaf people typically experience. It is through the personal growth of these two characters that the audience gets to experience what the film wants to convey about meaningful communication. A Silent Voice is a film that I've gone on record many times saying that it is the peak of audio-visual expression in anime. And I know that's a very bold thing to say, but even so many years later, like after its initial like theatrical release, I still strongly believe that to be true. And the reasons I feel so strongly about that have to do with what I think makes anime films a uniquely powerful storytelling medium. And the main reason I picked A Silent Voice to talk about today is because I wanted to illustrate the point that amazing anime films strive to create thematically cohesive experiences. So what do I mean by that? So when compared to TV series, films greatly benefit from having a strong sense of thematic cohesion, because films are, traditionally experienced in one uninterrupted sitting. So it's essential for the film to efficiently and effectively convey all of its themes, while keeping the audience captivated the entire way through. A strong thematic backbone helps immensely to keep the experience of the film from falling apart and completely losing the audience's attention. This is not as big of a consideration in TV series because TV series are designed to have natural breaks in between episodes. You watch an episode, you turn it on, you finish it, you can stand up, stretch, go get a snack, use the restroom, come back, watch the next episode. Or you may not even do that because imagine you're watching a TV series week to week. So you watch an episode, you do everything, and then you have to wait 7 days before you can watch the next episode. And that's all to say that TV series only expect the audience to experience its content for like 22 to 23 minutes at a time on average. Whereas a film, on the other hand, expects you to experience its content for, a continuous watching period of anywhere between like 1 to 3 hours. And this goes without saying, but like 1 to 3 hours is noticeably less total time than what is typically allocated to like a season of TV anime, which could be anywhere between like 10 to 13 episodes, which comes out to like
4 to 5
roughly
hours.
4 to 5 hours of total runtime. And this is not to say that films are an inherently like more restrictive medium than TV series in every regard, obviously. But that shorter runtime is like, it's like undoubtedly a tangible limitation.
Yeah, I actually want, if you don't mind me interjecting here
go
for
ahead.
a second. So actually, when you speak about, kind of the differences in runtime and how that affects, how you go about creating a film as opposed to a TV show, I think this also breaches into the production side of things as well. As TV series often are still being created as the show is running, like
Which
it
is so
sometimes
wild to me.
has some
Which makes
really big drawbacks sometimes.
I think it's so wild. I just can't believe, like, I
What'd you
don't
say?
know how you could like start releasing a TV show and just have it not be done.
Hey, it's just how, I mean, it's hard, like, right, the process behind creating shows that air week to week. It's like there's just a lot of moving parts that have to come together, and for that reason, like, sometimes it can lead to a series that is supposed to be one series, one collective unit, but it doesn't feel like it has the cohesion, and you can experience severe differences in quality from episode to episode. Sometimes we just came off of Uzumaki, right? Like we just came off of Uzumaki this season, and we saw the disparity between episode 1 as opposed to the rest of the episodes in the series, and that's because
it's only 4 episodes, bro.
yeah,
Come on.
like there's a lot of scenarios where different episodes have entirely different directors, different teams, different animators, and sometimes that's amazing, right? Sometimes that can work to their benefit, and we get a lot of different styles and a lot of great quality because of it. But in a lot of cases, especially like when we're talking about production issues and things being rushed and whatnot, it can really lead to things not being so great. Whereas like movies, on the other hand, like it's not going to come out until it's done, right? And I think that that is a very, very important part of the production process that allows for them to make up for the fact that they might not have as much real estate to work with in terms of runtime. They still are able to, on average, put together more cohesive quality projects, because it's like, okay, we're gonna make sure this is done and then double check it, and then we'll release it, and then they'll watch it. We don't have to worry about, holy shit, we have to hit this deadline, like hurry up and rush the shit out of the door. And I think that's like kind of one of the beautiful things about films in comparison to TV. I'm sorry, I just wanted to put that out there.
No, that's fine. And I love that you said that, because like there's definitely like a lot of like anxiety that like I have like as like an enjoyer of anime whenever I'm watching like a TV series that, like even if it like seems like it's going to be like good the whole way through, there's always like that chance where like production like has its setbacks, and you can't really expect what's going to happen in subsequent episodes. Whereas like a movie, like you have like less of that anxiety, like that what you're watching is the finished product. Like
yeah, we've all been there. We've all had that anxiety. Every single one of us.
Yeah, that's something that I definitely like love about anime films, is that you can expect it to be like a complete experience, and you don't have to worry about those production, like kind of like splicing together production, because like you said like episodes have like different directors, and for some less put together series, it could be like hard to like connect those different threads of production and have it be cohesive. But anime films are different. Anime films are different for sure.
True.
Yeah. So the short runtime for films is definitely like a limitation. However, limitations in art tend to encourage creativity and ingenuity to make up for those limitations. And in the case of anime films, that time limit really challenges the creators to fully understand like every idea, message, and theme that they want to convey, and weave together their essence into like every facet of the film in order to produce a thematically dense and artistically robust experience. And you know, in the cases where you know the stars align, everything goes well, and all of these creative efforts like come to fruition, man, it gives birth to something truly special and one of a kind. And I believe that this type of experience is a perfect way to describe Silent Voice. It is a film that maximizes every single storytelling element present in anime and innovates them in ways that no other anime had ever done before it. And these innovations like stem from the team of creative leaders responsible for producing A Silent Voice, who have since been aptly dubbed the Dream Team by me and many others who are also fans of their work. These members include Naoko Yamada, the director and lead storyboarder, Reiko Yoshida, who is the scriptwriter, Kensuke Ushio, who is the music composer. The goat, bro. Yeah, that's my goat. Somewhere there he is. And last member is Futoshi Nishia, who is the chief animation director and character designer.
Where are you?
He's up top left. Futoshi Nishia, character design. Nishia sadly passed away in the Kyoto animation arson in 2019. Rest in peace. He was truly like an irreplaceable member of the team, but thankfully we get to experience the fruits of his labor in works like A Silent Voice and you know what he contributed to this team. All of these people are generational talents in their respective fields, and all of them coming together to like work on A Silent Voice was nothing short of a miracle. You know, and I talked about the challenge of like impose on the creative leaders to efficiently and effectively convey the themes of the film to fit within this relatively short runtime. And the Dream Team was definitely well equipped to, you know, absolutely obliterate this challenge. And it all starts with the director, Naoko Yamada. So Naoko Yamada is my favorite director in anime, and she is one of the yeah, like for sure. She is one of the few people in this universe that I consider to be my hero. Like the impact that she has had on my life cannot be overstated. I firmly believe that like I am a better person because I experienced her works and took their messages to heart. And A Silent Voice is one that still profoundly resonates with me to this day. The innovations that Yamada brought to A Silent Voice is her immaculate storyboarding and shot composition. So to give a bit of her background, before Yamada entered the world of animation, she grew up with a strong interest in photography and eventually aspired to find work in the film industry after graduating from the Kyoto University of Art and Design. But she ended up working at Kyoto Animation after seeing a company advertisement at her university. And after a few years of experience and mentorship, she had a meteoric rise to become one of the studio's most renowned and respected creative leaders. However, her love for filmmaking did not diminish when her career shifted to animation. And in fact, it's her experience with traditional like live action film techniques that informs all of her works and gives like her directorial style a powerful, true to life flair. You can see in like every single one of her works, and you know, especially in A Silent Voice, how she depicts like the beauty and intricacies of human experiences through how she emulates camera work through drawn art and animation. Like she imagines how a camera would capture a scene in anime as if it were a live action. And the results of her dedication to this unique animation philosophy are always so breathtaking, like for real. The consideration that goes into like the camera angles, like the character placements in each shot, like the surrounding environment, the lighting, the sounds, and how everything moves and changes in relation to everything else on the screen. It's so meticulous and mindful. She's truly a master at like guiding the audience's like ocular and mental focus where it needs to be, while imbuing like each and every scene with the essence of the film's themes, which is absolutely essential in a film centered around expressing feelings through non-verbal communication methods. You know, yeah, and it goes without saying that Yamada's direction is undeniably best in class when it comes to depicting characters. The way Yamada aims to breathe life into all of the characters in her work is so inspiring. Like she treats her characters like with the utmost respect, as if they were real people, you know, with real emotions and real shortcomings and real insecurities. And the way she explores their stories through purely visual direction is incredibly thoughtful. You know, just to paint you like a verbal picture, like, so for instance, like when a character's like headspace is messy and conflicted, the scene reflects that through the camera work and how it captures the character in their current environment, so that the audience can really immerse themselves in the character's struggles to better understand them. You know, when characters are having extremely personal moments to themselves, like moments of self-reflection and moments of like acceptance, the camera pans away from them or doesn't capture their facial expressions, as if to like, you know, respect that character's privacy in a moment when they need it the most. In scenes where like characters are having a moment together, like they're sharing a moment, the character or the camera moves to capture their facial expressions, their body language, and the characters' reactions to each other. Like every method of communication that the characters are exploring is captured through such an organic lens, and it highlights the central themes of the film. Like everything in regards to like how this film, A Silent Voice, represents its characters is a testament to how Yamada has mastered her signature style of like visual storytelling. And Yamada's vision definitely inspired the other members of the Dream Team to explore deeper methods of expression in like their respective fields. So Reiko Yoshida, the writer, had worked with Yamada on each of her works where she was the director, which includes things like the K-On! Series and the Tomoko Market series. And Yoshida's writing has proven to be the perfect complement to Yamada's direction on every occasion, you know, to best represent the characters and to really elevate their most pivotal moments through dialogue. Futoshi Nishia, who is the character designer and chief animation director, his character designs for A Silent Voice are truly unmistakable. So if you've seen like the characters in this film, you can probably just tell by looking at them that they feature extremely thin lines that bring out the delicate details in every character, allowing them to have an impressive range of emotions and expressions that are used to create, you know, some of the most beautiful and intricate character acting I've ever seen in an anime. And last member, like Kensuke Ushio, his music composition is it's absolute genius. There's really no other way to describe it other than that. Like his work on A Silent Voice is one of my favorite soundtracks that he has composed to date. You know, and this, like, his work on A Silent Voice is where he really first explored a minimalistic and hypnotic music style that allows the audience to fully immerse themselves in the experience of the film while also encouraging them to form their own interpretations of what each song in the soundtrack represents. And I really can't overstate this. Like it's so cool how he like composes these songs. Like you can like check out the soundtrack like on Spotify. It's like readily accessible there. And if you look at like Ushio's name conventions for the songs on that soundtrack, you'll quickly see that they are not actual song titles, but rather 3-letter identification codes that he used when conceptualizing each song. And he decided to keep these codes in the final soundtrack, as opposed to like giving them proper titles, as to lower his influence on the audience's interpretation of each song, because he really, really wants the audience to think for themselves and really like feel out what each song means in the context of the film. It's one of the coolest soundtracks he's ever composed, and I highly recommend like listening to it in isolation, because the progression of the soundtrack tells an entire story in and of itself. So yeah, every member of the Dream Team saw a silent voice as an opportunity for bold experimentation, which is one of the things I really love about anime films, is that they are an opportunity to experiment with different storytelling tactics in order to achieve like a higher level of expression. I deeply respect all of their work because of how much risk that they took on by like experimenting in these ways. And it really is risky because since they built this film from like the bottom up to like carry meaning in every discernible aspect, it puts a lot of trust in the audience to make an effort to understand the themes that the creators want to convey, as well as asking them to like form their own interpretation on those themes, in the absence of things like clear, like spoken exposition, which there's not a lot of that in this film. And it goes without saying that like a film that like asks for that level of engagement from the audience is not something that everybody's going to enjoy, and I don't mean to put this disrespectfully, but there are some people prefer getting spoon-fed information, as opposed to like having to think about things and interpret things for themselves. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I don't want to like shame anybody who just like wants to casually like watch something. Like that's completely fine. But with a film as dense and layered as A Silent Voice, there is a good chance that a lot of like the deeper storytelling will fly right over the audience's heads. And I think that's a shame, because you can't really force a person to be interested in something or be invested in something. Otherwise, you could just come off as like elitist, or you could just like ruin their entire experiences by being like too imposing, and that's like the absolute worst thing that could happen. That is the risk that is associated with having more expressive storytelling that is in some ways less direct and explicit than it could be. However, I think the risks that this team took more than paid off, because in a way it poetically ties into what A Silent Voice has to say about the themes of communication and understanding and empathy. Communicating with somebody and earnestly trying to understand them and forming a truly authentic connection with them, it's not easy, and it takes a lot of effort. And the same can be said about deeply engaging with works of art like A Silent Voice. Like, this is a film that speaks so gently, and not because it doesn't want to be heard, but because there is a profound beauty in trying to listen to what it wants to say. And I can assure you that like those who make the effort to listen will be rewarded with one of the most powerful, moving, and expressive audiovisual experiences that anime has to offer. That's my piece. That's my piece on The Silent Voice. Like,
Thank you for coming to our TED Talk.
For sure. Oh my god. So A Silent Voice is a timeless masterpiece that I think you owe it to yourself to experience if you have not already. you can conveniently do so if you have a Netflix account because it's been on Netflix for a very long
Yeah,
time.
for a super long time. Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, this timing is truly impeccable. So as of a few days ago, G Kids Films announced that they acquired the North American rights to A Silent Voice, and they will be giving it a theatrical run in celebration of Naoko Yamada's newest film, The Colors Within.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which is like coming to NA theaters next year. But this new theatrical run of A Silent Voice, it's going to be on December 15th and 16th, which at the time of like this podcast is just a month away.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't seen it, consider treating yourself and going to see this masterpiece in theaters. I know I will. I already bought my ticket like yesterday or 2 days ago.
Oh,
God,
Yeah,
what a
bro,
fucking nerd, bro.
Dude, I'm not passing up this opportunity.
I don't blame you.
I've told Bobby, because like Bobby, like, you know, also saw that announcement. I told him that like not seeing A Silent Voice in theaters is one of my biggest regrets in life. Like, I really wanted to see this work in theaters just because, like, you know, it's a good environment to really like immerse yourself in film as opposed to just like watching it in your home. So I'm definitely not trying to miss this shit, bro.
Simply
like,
build your own
I'm
theater
trying
at
to go.
home.
Side thought.
I could.
You could do
but
that.
just
you
have
know,
an HD CRT at home with like a $500 set of headphones.
yeah,
Oh my God.
simply, bro, simply. Yeah,
I thought like something
Just.
about like something super awesome about watching like anime films is that I don't know about you guys, but for me, if it's not like Demon Slayer or like something crazy, that theater be empty. So it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's pretty cool to like
I
to
fully
get, like,
expect
The
me
few
to
times
be
I've
in
gone
a
have
theater.
been.
Yeah, I fully expect me to be in a theater with like at most like 5 or 6 people.
yeah,
So,
like
Yeah,
I
even
felt
like I went to see Blue Lock recently, and like that did still like, even though that series is very popular, there was like 2 other people in there with me.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
like-
I
When I
forgot what I
watched the
watched.
Gintama movie, I
Bro.
was the only guy.
That's lit.
And like,
Dude.
I'm in a big city too. I'm in fucking Pittsburgh, bro. Like I was like, okay, surely there must be some people, right? Nope.
Oh, it was Haikyuu. It was the Haikyuu movie. I watched it
Oh,
twice.
Haikyuu, yeah.
I was the only person in the theater both times. I'm
Let's
like,
go.
That's
This is, like,
not
pretty-
the case for me. When I watched the Haikyuu movie, they were definitely like, it was like maybe 30% full.
Maybe it's
That's
because I
actually
watched it like, a little bit after. I didn't watch it like right on release.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
Our
probably.
anime movies in normal theaters. So usually, like, if the movie is big enough, like if it has enough impact, especially in the West, it'll get a limited theatrical run. As in, like, a lot of movies will only show for like a few days or sometimes a week if they're really big. Like I think Demon
Sometimes
Slayer.
one day,
I
one
think
showing at a random time.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
go
no.
show Rocco.
It's like I think like Demon Slayer was showed for like 2 weeks, I think.
We had Demon
Like
Slayer for a
because
while.
it was just that big. But like most anime movies will only get a few days, and like they don't even show in all the theaters. It's only very certain theaters. So you might have to drive an hour or 2 hours to go see it, depending on where you're at. So yeah, it is it's not the easiest all the time, but in a lot of cases it still is worth it. I've seen a few in
That
theaters myself.
Review Starlight, the movie, was for me. It was in theaters on a fucking Tuesday, one showing. I'm like,
Oh,
dude, what?
Dude, I went to go see that, bro. I was in the theater with like 2 other people. I'm like, yo, like,
I think
Uh,
when no, go ahead.
oh no, I was done.
I think when I went to go watch it, I think there was an anime con happening about the same time, so that theater was actually fairly packed.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, that's pretty cool.
That would actually be cool for certain movies.
Like, I feel like having a bunch of people around is good for some experiences, but also for other ones, like, yo, let me just get this thing in silence with no one.
Yeah,
other
it definitely
people
depends on
munching
what type of
popcorn
movie it is.
crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, even though I want a lot of people to like watch, you know, A Silent Voice in theaters, like I can't lie and say that like if I was the only person in the theater, I would just like be completely fine with that because I get to get this experience all to myself, you know.
They made this for
Really-
me and nobody
Yeah,
else.
but nobody like crunching like popcorn like a few seats away from me, not like disrupting like my experience. Like I can't lie, that sounds pretty nice. So
Okay, cool. Who wants to take
Yeah.
the reins next? We go to our next film.
I can talk a little bit about Wolf Children.
Okay.
So I realized after I picked my two films,
Uh-oh.
those have you guys seen Wolf Children and Maquia? Other than Jeffrey, I know he's seen both.
Yeah.
We watched Wolf Children together, brother.
Okay, well, all right, man. I fucking forget shit.
That was a while ago. So.
Yeah, exactly. I fucking forget
I didn't
shit.
watch it with you guys. What the heck?
All right, well, there
Because
you
you'd have seen it beforehand.
go. Well, Bobby, have you seen Maquia?
I feel like no. I feel like maybe I watched it and I forgot the whole thing, or I've never seen it.
I hate you. Well, the thing I thought about is like, what? I just picked two movies that are just totally about the sacrifice of motherhood. I was like, oh, that was not on purpose. But
That's okay.
so I thought,
Subliminal
so
messaging.
I kind of want to bring that up a little bit. That like they're both movies are just totally about the sacrifice of motherhood, where it's different because one of them in Wolf Children, the mom, whose name is escaping me right now, it's Hana. Hana is a mom to two. She married like a werewolf basically. So she had like two half wolf, half human babies, and she is herself as a human. So it's like, oh wait a minute, I have to figure out how to like raise these not exactly human children. And then in Maquia, it's we have like an essentially immortal being who like adopts like a human. So it's like, oh, now we're raising this thing who's not the same race as me, and it like the struggles like kind of represent themselves differently. In Maquia, the Eorf race, they're like functionally immortal, and then they stop aging like through like adolescence ish. So she just looks like a teenager the whole time, like throughout the course of the movie, and like the passage of time goes on. So you see this child growing up, and this child's growing up, and it's like, oh, my mom is still looks like 16 or 15, whatever, and like hasn't really changed. And it's just like, I have like these two little wolf children things, and I'm struggling to learn how to raise these two little wolf children things. And then these two little wolf children things can have different point of views on like their identity as a wolf/human. So that it's super interesting like thing to me, where it's like, oh, I don't know why. I just like this selfless sacrificing of motherhood that it just seemed to hit really hard for me. They're both super emotional movies, represented a little bit differently, but still super, super emotional.
When's the last time you watched Wolf Children?
Wolf Children. I mean, I've seen it twice. I've seen it with whenever we all watched it. Not we all, but whenever Dylan and Jeffrey and I watched it. So I was probably like
I had seen it before I got it to you.
Yeah, I was probably like a year and a half ago or something.
Oh, okay, so pretty recent.
Closer to 2 years, I think.
Yeah, there you go. And then I watched it like a little like shortly after that because I was like, yo, I want to watch this again. So probably 2. And then Maquia, I've only seen once because I don't want to fucking cry.
Understandable.
He's like, I'm saving myself.
Yeah. But I'm gonna talk a little bit about like just the characters in Wolf Children. I don't want to go too spoilery because just their points of view, the two children characters go through, they diverge a little bit. So I want like people to like kind of experience that like themselves. But Yuki, so the female wolf child, she's like initially she likes a lot about being a wolf. It's like, oh my gosh, being a wolf is kind of fun. So she would always like do her little shape shifting, going through a little transformation sequence, and have a lot of fun doing that. But then you kind of realize like, oh, it's a little bit weird that like no one around me has like the same like can embrace this like wild side. And then she kind of like changes as you grow on. So, it's pretty normal. People, you as a child, you're not necessarily going to be the same as like when you're 6 from when you're like 18, 19, 20 or 17, 16, whatever. There's like, you get to see this like shift. It's like, oh, she was more like energetic and wild in the beginning. And then Ame he struggled a lot with the wolf aspect early on because in children's stories, primarily, this is like his main reason. In children's stories, the wolf is usually the bad guy, big bad wolf, whatever. And he's like, wait, I'm wolf. I'm big bad guy. And like, I'm little small wolf dude. And
3 pigs.
So you like struggle with that. But then, again, like I said, people change throughout time. So that just kind of like changed a little bit. And then there's another wolf character that we see that you won't really see their name, but it becomes a little bit of he becomes a little bit of a like symbolism of like what the fuck it's life to like be a wolf, because he's like a wolf in captivity. You can just kind of think like a zoo. So if anyone the political correctness of zoos, the same thing everyone kind of knows about. It's like, oh, well, how great is it to have all these animals in captivity? And that's like, so you get to see this wolf who's essentially just, he is a real wolf, but it's, you see him like captive and in like these like gray backgrounds, and it becomes a little bit of like a source of, like a source of like, I guess, growth for Ame. It's he's a side character. You'll never find his name, but it's just one of the 4 wolves in the show.
Don't worry, his name's not important. His impact is
I don't
important.
remember his name. I don't even know if we learned his name. He's just a wolf, dude. He's just a wolf in captivity. Jeffrey, does he have a name? Do you know?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. He's an unnamed wolf.
Unnamed character.
Hey, but technically the father is unnamed as well, so we just know him as Wolf Guy.
Yeah, he's just his name is literally Wolf.
Wolf,
yeah. We don't get to know his name, so.
Yeah, kind of. And I'm trying to think of like one of the other like big themes with oh, so one of the things that happens in the movie that's like hella cool is anyone who's ever had an animal pet. Imagine living in an apartment building with a little animal. It's like, oh look, my fucking wolf children are just fucking howling at the moon and shit. That's great. This is definitely gonna go great with my landlord. So they end up like moving out to the countryside. So you get to see like their like difference between their experiences, like, oh my god, living in this big open area, and versus living in like the captivity of like the city, like in an apartment. So it's Wolf Children is like a super pretty, beautiful film, make you appreciate your mama. Like the sacrifices that she'll have to, that all the parents will go through, especially like as the mother. But and showing that like mom is being a mother is like not necessarily like instinctual. It's like a lot of trial and error. This again, it goes into like kind of like both films, which is why I was kind of talking a little bit about them and both of them together.
Yeah.
It's tricky because a lot of like the Wolf Children stuff, it's a little bit like spoilery. I don't want to go too much of like the 2 individual characters' journey, but I gave like a loose, brief overview of what they go through.
Good.
Oh, and then obviously Hosoda.
I was gonna say that this is
probably should probably mention Mamoru Hosoda.
This is the best opportunity that we're gonna get to talk about Mamoru Hosoda, who is a pretty prolific director and creator of anime films. So yeah, for sure. But Wolf Children was actually like, I think like the first. No, it wasn't the first film that he produced at his own studio, because I think Madhouse. Actually, no, like Hosoda Studio Chizu is credited on this film. So like Studio Chizu is like Hosoda's own anime film studio. So he founded this, and he has produced several films since its
what a Chad, bro! Like what an absolute Chad.
Yeah, Hosoda has a habit of making a film every 3 years, which honestly, like, I think is like pretty base, because like I think of a lot of like anime directors who I wish had their own studio like this and could just really devote themselves to producing anime films, whenever inspiration strikes, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, Hosoda has produced many like household film names like A Girl Who Lived Through Time and Summer Wars, Wolf Children, of course, and I believe his most recent film was Belle. Yeah.
Belle, Mirai, and Boy and the Beast is like the stuff. I don't think any of us have been able to see Boy and the Beast yet.
I saw it.
So. Oh, okay, never mind. It is available.
She said, "Speak for yourself, loser."
Yeah,
I thought it was available.
But Hosoda has like a very like distinct style of like imagery that he likes to use, mainly like using like animals. Animals. He uses a lot of animal imagery in his films to kind of like people being different from what we expect or what we're like conditioned to think that humans are, and he uses that to kind of like highlight the difference between just people that you may encounter in your life. And I think that Wolf Children is his best use of this type of imagery, because like Miguel said, like these kids are really like struggling to like find themselves, because they're like half wolf, half human. Like there's a part of them that is like just so distinctly different from everyone else around them, and they have to like make the choice to either embrace that, or to kind of like discard that part of themselves in pursuit of like being able to connect with more people. And both sides of like that conversation are definitely valid, and it makes the film like a very engaging watch when you consider his use of like that animal imagery. So it's really cool, and definitely his best use of it in all of his films.
Every director has a thing, and his is animals.
Yeah. Well, Bobby, your favorite, you like Summer Wars a lot, right? Is that you?
Yeah. I like Summer Wars.
Is that like you've seen both of them, right?
Wolf Children and Summer Wars. Yeah.
You said Summer Wars is your favorite one of his works?
Yeah, personally, I would say so. Yeah.
I've never had to actually see this one, but this one doesn't have like any animal imagery, right?
No, that's not true at all. It definitely does.
Oh, really? This guy, all right, never mind. He can't actually. What I was going to bring up is like, oh, he did one without animals. Like, no.
First of all, okay. If you look at this key art, look at the like TV that one person's sitting on, like in the front near the left.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that is a prominent character in the movie.
I see.
Never mind. What I was bringing up was like, oh look, I guess he did one good movie that does not have animals. But it's like, no, never mind. Guess
I don't think A Girl Who Left Through Time has a very strong animal imagery. So
yeah, but do y'all like Girl Who Left Through Time?
It's a fine film.
I like
it's like not his best, but it's definitely like a good film.
Yeah.
I didn't really like Mirai very much. Of his work. This guy's done so much stuff, dude.
Damn, bro.
Been around.
He's making movies, bro. He's like
when you have your own studio, you get to do shit like this, though.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
That is really cool. If you like totally made it, it's like, you know what? I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Mm-hmm.
Like his story himself, it's so cool considering like a lot of people don't know about this part, that he actually tried to be a part of Studio Ghibli and was rejected. They're like, no, and Miyazaki he gave him praise on the rejection letter.
Like, Miyazaki's a dick. That's the least surprising thing ever.
He's like, we hate animals.
So don't give up. You might get rejected, but that doesn't mean you don't have value. He said, fine, I'll do it myself. And now look at him.
What Jeffrey just said made me think this guy just went into his fucking job interview with Miyazaki and started talking about animals. Like, we hate animals here. Fuck you.
Animals.
That's crazy.
I could imagine Miyazaki just finding like one fucking random thing he doesn't like and be like, you know what? Fuck you. No.
How did the interview go? It was weird. This guy kept bringing up animals for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, dude. Maybe Mamoru Hosoda's the weird one, bro.
Oh my god. Brings in like a whole portfolio of his like OTs, and I'm like, oh no.
It's like, oh god, what's happening? He's like,
oh my god. That's really funny to think about though, because Miyazaki is definitely like the most well-known anime director I think of all time. I think it's pretty like
yeah. It's not close, I don't think.
Speaking of Miyazaki, yo.
True.
One of my films I chose.
Transition?
Yo, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind.
All right. Nausicaa. Yes, first one.
This is like actually my favorite like Miyazaki film of like I can't even I mean it's technically not a Studio Ghibli film because
it's a Studio Ghibli film.
Yeah,
it's a Studio Ghibli film.
It really is.
It basically like made so much money that Miyazaki was like, yo, I can just make my own studio, and then he created Studio Ghibli, made all of his like incredibly famous works like Spirited Away, like Howl's Moving Castle, like Princess Mononoke, like all this stuff. But personally, despite all of the like advancements that he's made and like his art craft and everything, I still find myself thinking that for me, Nausicaa is like my favorite Studio Ghibli film. Difficult to say by far, but I think like in terms, I am the sovereign of themes around here, and I feel like Nausicaa does such an excellent job, like really, really getting across to the audience like the importance of like the values that like both like the story is trying to tell and what clearly like Miyazaki has. So like if you don't know, Nausicaa is like a very environmentalist like type of story, talking about like Nausicaa, the main character, who's like she's like the princess of the Valley of the Wind. And she's basically like her character is basically like defined by her empathy and her patience and her love of life. Like she's someone who's like, man, like people, society, like all these people, like they have so much fear, they have so much hatred, you know. They like turn all of their energy towards like being like, oh, we need to like defend ourselves, we need to like destroy in order to keep ourselves safe, you know. And Nausicaa's out here like, no, you need to like show love and empathy and respect in order to truly, you know, create a sustainable life. And this is like just kind of in general, I would say, outside of maybe like The Boy and the Heron, which is like the newest Miyazaki film, I think that Nausicaa is a little bit different from a lot of the other Ghibli films in that it is very clearly like trying to have the audience take away from the film and feel like they can apply like the wisdom in order to like make a better world. And that's like, to me, because like a lot of the Studio Ghibli films I feel like are about like the experience and stuff. And so I think that there are some shortcomings of Nausicaa, like the animation's not as beautiful or as clean as like some of the newer Ghibli works as well, but it's still like incredible, especially for the time. I think this movie is from the 80s.
Yeah, it's 84.
84.
Yeah, so it's just
long before
me,
we were born.
Yeah. For me, like this film is just so influential and timeless, and I think even if you were to watch it like in modern day, I think like the types of ideas and concepts that like they try to like really thematically like fill the movie with, they almost in a sense like hit home closer like now than it did before. And to me, like that like really speaks to its timelessness, like the fact that like the ideas in the movie that are probably more relevant now than like they were like 40 years ago, just absolutely absurd. Like this movie is going to turn 40 soon, and I'm telling you, it's kind of sick.
Yo.
Yeah. And that's,
it's already 40, dude. It's gonna be 41.
That's already high. I mean, especially given, you know, I don't know. I feel like as time goes on, people's not only attention spans but their bandwidth to like respect things that are even the slightest bit dated, like it is like tanking. Like people have less and less respect for you know.
I be hating sometimes.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, he's such a good example.
I be hating sometimes. No, I still watch old shit.
Ghibli hater.
I still watch old shit. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes I be hating.
That's crazy. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, me and Dylan were trying to watch Initial D, and Miguel like was trying to like fucking tell us every 5 minutes, bro, this shit's so crusty looking.
Okay, look. All right.
But he's also the one that turns around and is like, I expect everything to look good by nature. Like, he's like, all right, bro, you're just.
Yo, man, the bar set
you
high.
might be beyond help.
Okay,
like,
look, I remember someone was bothering me to watch Yu Yu Hakusho. I think it might have been Andy, and I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna watch it. And I'm like, all right, this is lit. So it looked old, but I was like, yo, this shit's still fire.
Man,
There is like a nice like OG like cells and stuff. They do be hitting sometimes though. So I feel it.
Oh yeah,
trying to beat the allegations right now.
True.
No, I'm not, bro. It's just the truth. I'd just be hating sometimes. Like sometimes I get in a hating mood and I feel like fucking hating, and y'all all know that.
True. There is something in this movie. If you don't know, Hideki Anno, creator of Evangelion, he actually had like one of his name like in the industry started like really getting out there because of this film, because there's a scene that he specifically did, and when you watch it and you know like he was involved, you're like, oh yeah, this part was Hideki Anno.
Dude,
but like, yeah. I mean, Nausicaa, I think, super influential movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's actually like hilarious. They had like a crazy back in the day. Anime dubs, oh god, they were completely different, bro. They had a release of this film that was like completely changed. Basically, it was like a re-edited version that was completely changed. Like they even changed like Nausicaa's name. It's not even Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind. They named her Princess Xandra. Oh my lord, why? It was apparently so ass that when Miyazaki watched it for himself, he said, "This is garbage. We need to get this out of the fuck out of those people's hands and change the whole movie back to what it's supposed to be."
Yeah.
So they did.
Yeah. This guy is just he's something different, bro.
He's particular as fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
is.
but I think like that's the reason I have so fucking much respect for this guy, because he's like I think he's kind of an embodiment of what it means to cherish art in its purest form, and so like anytime that something does not sit right with this guy, he's like, no, fuck you. He's like, no, we're not doing any of this fucking nonsense that you're talking about. We're gonna do it the right way, or we're not gonna do it at all. Like, dude,
It's kind of like
like
I forgot her name, the Oshinoko character from fucking season 2.
I mean, there's
Which
quite a
one?
few.
There are many-
The one with the same personality, the one who's fucking particular.
Oh,
as
the
fuck.
mangaka.
Yes, the manga guy.
Oh,
God,
yeah,
I thought
yeah,
that was
yeah,
obvious.
yeah.
Listen,
Okay,
you said
okay.
that character from
Bro,
this
I'm like,
series.
bro, what the
Alright,
fuck
come
are
on,
you
man.
talking about?
Given what we were just talking about, I feel like that was really clear.
You
Describe
said
things
girl
better.
from Oshinoko, a primarily women cast, bro.
I also another thing about Nausicaa actually being about like Miyazaki being super particular. I'm pretty sure the manga took like 12 years to make, and it's only like 7 volumes. And it's just because Miyazaki literally he refused basically to like make anything regarding this manga even close to like what he considered imperfect. So I think if you do watch the movie, I would highly recommend reading the manga as well. It's incredible.
It's kind of funny because
Yeah,
your
it's
other
pretty short.
movie, spoilers, is Redline, which also took like 10 fucking years to make.
Yo, bro. I mean, it's what Jeffrey was saying earlier, right? Like the production, you know, they're allowed to take their time. They're allowed to make things as they wanted to. You know, they have that luxury, and I think for the things that I've enjoyed, it shows.
Yeah, I'd rather them take their time than not, for sure.
Yeah, who cares how long it takes? Like,
Yeah, that's why the
Yeah,
Madoka
exactly.
when it
sequel
comes out.
delayed. Who cares? Shaft is cooking.
Shit was cooking
Alright.
for 10 years, bro.
Yeah. That's all right, bro.
Dylan, you wanna do your first one?
Yeah. So you wrote a Love Live movie.
Whoa!
Oh,
I'm gonna
which-
fucking lose it,
I'm-
bro.
that was
yeah,
a joke.
I don't know
Oh,
which.
We're doing the Slam Dunk movie.
No.
We're going back to the old well.
I don't. What's it called? Like, is it
First
just
Slam
The first
First
slam
slam
the
dunk.
first slam dunk.
the first slam? Oh, okay. I was
Yeah,
like,
like
Love-
speaking
I
of
was like,
long productions, this also actually took a long time to produce.
Yes.
This was actually a movie about 10 years in the making or so.
Jesus.
So this is a follow-up, not really a follow-up, but this is an adaptation of the final game of Slam Dunk, but from a different perspective, from one of the more side characters, the one in the middle right there, Miyagi.
Yeah, like perspective and narration is
Yeah.
different.
So it's intended to be less of a closure to the development of the main character of the original series, Sakuragi, and more of a focus on Miyagi and his struggles, kind of growing up, alongside depicting the basketball game. And there's a big theme in this movie about kind of loss and perseverance through loss that you can like see through mostly Miyagi, but you can see through quite a few of the other characters as they round out their character arcs as well from the series. I think the big standout about the movie is probably just like the 3D CGI production, which composed most of the movie, and I know a lot of people were pretty apprehensive about 3D CG.
Yeah, so like since I'm so heavily involved in the fighting game community, an overwhelming majority of fighting game players are like pretty meatheaded when it comes to anime, for lack of a better term. It's fighting games, so they want to see people fight a lot, right? Like they care a lot about the way fights look, high action scenes. Like I think those are like the values they hold highest. And I remember when this movie got revealed, I remember seeing things on my timeline that people were like, "This looks like dog shit," and I'm like, "I don't think you know what you're talking about." I was like,
Yeah. It's pretty good for a 3D production. It's honestly probably the best 3D production I've ever seen, and 3D productions have been getting better, particularly with, like stuff like Studio Orange. I know Jeffrey likes Land of the Illustrious a lot. They
Yeah,
did
for
Beastar, Trigun,
A
but
lot of
And
people love
Trigun
Trigun
Recent.
Stampede. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, but-
we'll give credit to Toei because they've been honestly like killing it.
Yeah, their 3D
I-
is
I
also
think-
quite good. Yeah,
I
that's
honestly
true.
think this is about to kick off like a 3D CG type of wave in the industry at some point, because
I could see it.
I'm not entirely sure, but this might have indirectly led to Girls Fan Cry.
That's what I was thinking, because obviously
Yeah,
the
okay.
opinion that I have on Toei 3D is definitely like very high because of what Dylan has said about this film and the recently aired Girls Band Cry, which is a fully 3D TV series that they did.
Yeah, that show's 3D is actually absurd. Like I'm so impressed
incredible.
by like that shit was crazy.
Yeah. You watch some of the sequences in this movie, and it almost feels unreal at times that it is 3D. I'm not sure how else to describe it. Like, I know at certain points they had to use motion capture to help the fluidity of some of the actions, but I don't think I've ever seen anything as smooth as this in 3D animation. Maybe Bobby can attempt to that.
I feel like especially when the movie is primarily in 3D CGI, I feel like a lot of the times you just get kind of encapsulated into the direction and the motion, because I feel like a lot of people too, like the fighting game players and whatever, they expect things to look a certain way, knowing that this property comes from a source. Right? I feel like because people know oh, this is an anime, people know, oh, Slam Dunk is an OG basketball manga anime, right? I feel like their expectation is, oh, it should look like the rest of that. And I feel like instead of being more open-minded, they'd come to this and they're like, oh, this doesn't look like what I wanted it to or expected it to, so I'm going to reject it. But in reality, if you sit down, watch it, let yourself be immersed, it genuinely is very, very beautiful, well animated. I think that it's incredibly good looking, and I don't really understand. I guess I understand. I just don't.
It's just the
appreciate
natural
that.
version, the CG. You know how people are, bro.
Yeah, it's just people have developed this taste for CGI.
Version. Yeah,
where it's
I think
it doesn't even matter qualitatively if it's good or bad. They're just
unfortunately,
I feel like I really feel like a lot of people that speak ill on CG in this medium, in a lot of cases haven't even experienced bad CG themselves. They just hear people say oh, CG's kind of shit in anime, and so they kind of run with it. Because there are a lot of the takes that I hear from people are not from people that have watched that many shows in the first place. Maybe one of them has seen the disaster that was Berserk.
Yeah, we all
at
have
some
our
point.
scars.
Right, yeah. And so I feel like an overwhelming majority of at least in this particular circle of fighting game players, I imagine that the only thing that they would have seen that has bad CGI would be Berserk. I don't think they've seen truly super ultra disastrous
I think the thing that really gets people is when the 3D CGI is put into a 2D show in a way that is jarring or takes them out of the experience. I think really because those, I think especially in the mid 2010s, quite common for that to be the case. But it wasn't it wasn't ruining, right? I used to be on the man, CGI is done so poorly in anime, it's annoying. Because in the 2010s, in general, that is true. But I also think that if you looked in the 2010s, there were definitely good occurrences of that too. So demonizing it as a whole is definitely not the wave.
Yeah, people just latch onto the negative.
The easiest example I can think of from a 2010 show that was yo, this CG was kind of fire. It was Psycho-Pass, the Dominator animation. Come on, Mel, come on. If you've seen that show, if you know what the Dominators look like when they introduced it in episode 1, that shit is CGI. That shit is fire.
Yeah, it's definitely not all bad, but people definitely will remember the bad more than the good. and like I don't know, it's like one of those things where like if it integrates itself into a 2D series in a way that is non-intrusive, a lot of people I feel like won't even notice it. Like they won't even like consciously think like, oh, that was CGI just then, that looked really good. They'll just, you know, it
it's
just
like
kind of gets glossed over.
survivorship bias.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll never notice the bad CGI because it never crossed their mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they'll never notice the good CGI because it never crossed their mind, the CGI.
Yeah, a funny thing about this particular movie was yesterday I was running a Grand Blue tournament, and randomly, like I didn't bring it, like this guy doesn't even know that I do a podcast or anything. He was on commentary, and he just starts trudging around, and he starts like picking up Blu-rays of anime movies he has, and this was one of them that he was telling people to go watch, was the first Slam Dunk. He also had some shit to talk about Promare and shit like that, but it was so random. I was like, wait, this guy get leaked? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good movie. Like, honestly, you could, even without prior knowledge of the series, like, you could probably walk in and watch it without.
I actually know someone who did that.
Yeah.
It's like written in a way like where like you won't get spoiled on like anything prior hand, I suppose, and it's just a really good standalone experience.
I definitely went to the theater with two guys I knew, and one of them had read Slam Dunk the manga. The other one had no interface with Slam Dunk as a franchise as a whole. And when we were talking to him after the movie about his thoughts, because he had like literally no idea like about what the series was about, and we like told him like details like, oh, actually the red-haired guy Sakuragi is the real main character. He was like, what? he was like flabbergasted. He was like, wait, that was so good. You're telling me that like that was canon stuff from the real series, and that had, but like they did it like completely different. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, what? And he's like, what? That's crazy. I just thought it was a good movie. He's like, I thought that was just Slam Dunk, bro. I'm like, nah, dude. That was Slam Dunk, but that was definitely not the Slam Dunk that we read.
Yeah, like we talked about like how like movies can be transformative for like some series, like Rebellion with like Madoka, and in a way like it definitely changed. This movie definitely like changes how you see certain characters and certain actions and why they feel the need to do certain things, particularly with the main character Miyagi.
It's so cool from a taking a step back like perspective, like a bigger picture perspective, where you recognize that like all of the individual like games that happen in the series are like maybe like this, where you're like, damn, like this is such a unique and interesting story like for the main character, and then you like recognize like, actually, hold on, these games actually mean a lot to every single one of the people that are on the team. And it's just like, damn, it hits you in a way, because like they really, really make you care about the struggles that the characters go through, and especially in this movie, like they really, really get you to grow attached to like not just like the game of basketball, but like what the game of basketball means to these people. And I'm like, damn, it's tough.
Sick shit, honestly.
It's pretty interesting to me because like I don't know anything about Slam Dunk. I've only like known what like Bobby and Dylan have told me about the series, but it's really interesting to me that a series with like this deep of a legacy didn't really make that a priority with this film in terms of like, you know, how it looked, or, you know, following the story of like, you know, the actual protagonist. It just seems it's like an anomaly like for something like this to happen, because usually like when like something like with this high of a profile like, you know, gets pitched to, you know, whatever people are tasked with making it, that they would like, you know, really like hang on to everything that they know the series to be. And so like this is a very like, you know, rare occurrence for something like this to exist in the way it does. And I think that really like, you know, I know Dylan like holds this film in like very high regard. I think you say that this is your favorite anime film now, like just period.
Just straight up.
Yeah, and I think like, and is that because it's like so different and also like so familiar, like
yeah,
like everything in one?
yeah, you had mentioned how like, you know, when you're approached to do like something as beloved as this, like you kind of want to stick to your guns. I do think it helps that like it is directed and written by the mangaka of the series himself, Takahiro Inoue, and so like I think when he got approached to do this thing, he accepted on the idea that he wanted to like do a different take or maybe expand on some of the characters more than he did in the manga.
This is a chance to innovate for sure. And like, if anybody says like, "Oh, it shouldn't look like this," like the dude who wrote it literally made it, I'm like, bro, you literally like have no argument.
Yeah, no, like he was pretty hands-on in the production.
He's literally like credited as director.
Like, yeah, he is director.
Also, my favorite manga of all time. He's the GOAT. So
just to throw that out there.
yeah, he kind of wrote Vagabond. If you didn't know, guys, by the way.
Not
He's
bragging,
never
by
touching
the way,
that
but
he's never touching that series again, dude.
Whoa! Real
best-
will end
Oh,
eventually.
no.
The best
bro.
I can do is give you a real chapter every like 1 or 2 months.
Oh
Yo, dude.
no!
We'll get there. It's alright. Vagabond is honestly just a random tangent about not anime films. Vagabond is a manga where if it never finishes, I will be still satisfied with where we got. It is just one of those types of series.
Yeah. I think that's like pretty powerful.
It doesn't even need to end for me to know that this is fucking legendary.
True.
Because like, and it's not a testament to specifically like, oh, if any series could say that, they'd be godlike. Like, not every series has to be written in that way.
Yeah.
But Vagabond is written in that way. So if there's any series to be on indefinite hiatus, I'm glad it's this and not Berserk. Because Berserk,
not one that
I would
needs
be so
more.
sad if Berserk could never end.
Yeah. I feel
If you
that.
go to Takahiko Inoue's like Annie list page thing,
Yeah.
the nickname just says the GOAT.
He's him. He's literally him.
That's
Dude.
pretty funny.
Oh my! Which I find this very funny because I'm gonna go on a fucking tangent that Jeffrey. I think everyone. I don't know if you know as Klo, where for some reason, what's his name? The anime man, the fucking YouTuber.
Oh,
Somebody walked up to him and called him Josh the Manga Lad or some shit one time, something like that,
Oh my gosh.
because he like doesn't really watch anime. So I was like drunk and fucking around one time, so I submitted an edit on Annie List to put Josh the Manga Lad as a nickname for Joey Bisinger's thing, and apparently it was denied like 2 years ago. And I just kind of kept doing it periodically. And somewhat recently, someone put a note: "This is not his real name. This is a fucking joke thing. Like, please stop submitting this." And I'm like, "Wait, what?
Why are you pestering
reading
these
this?
fucking people, bro?
I didn't know someone was actually reading this. I
This
thought it was
is
just getting
crazy, bro.
auto-denied.
You're just a menace.
But then what's
Bullshit, bro.
bothering me is that somebody just submitted the GOAT and this guy just accepted it. It's like, wait, what?
He's like, true.
No bias, no
Yeah,
bias, no
it
bias.
is true.
Yeah, bro, I don't know what to tell you, Miguel. You got like bad admin luck that day.
It'd be like that.
Kind of
For real,
bad
dude?
mood.
No, but it's the same. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy, just from the way the reaction was.
That's funny.
I do
Alright.
think it's crazy. I've read a good chunk of Slam Dunk, and then I've like seen random parts of Vagabond just because the art's fucking fire. I will eventually read that. I do think it's crazy. This guy is like so goated to do like 3 things that are so highly like
Regarded.
It's
like,
just talent, bro. That's
He's so
that's
incredible at his craft. Like all of his series,
the
like
third one being real.
they go down like water, bro. Like I don't understand. He's such a master of panel flow and like really immersing people into manga. Like you read his work and you're like, how is that? How did I just go through 300 pages? Like you're literally in here, and this guy, like the way that he structures like all of his artwork and everything, like you're just like, bro, this guy fucking got me. I don't even need to be literate. This guy is literally speaking to me with his images.
Dude, panels of Vagabond go so fucking hard. I'm just like, yo, this is like the greatest looking thing. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I want it like the book in front of me. Like, I need to look at this.
Oh yeah, if you do want to watch this movie, it is actually available by legal means through Netflix.
Let's
Whoa.
go. Let's go.
Whoa.
Let's
Let's
go.
go. Accessibility.
Legally supporting the industry. Yeah.
Accessibility is fucking fire.
Yes, when it comes to anime, we need that, bro. Because holy
Yeah.
shit, this industry has been through some BS.
Anime
Okay,
movies in particular, bro.
let's
Excellent.
go to my
You're up.
first. So we're gonna talk about Bubble, and Bubble is one of those movies that was. It was like I remember when it first got revealed. We all like read like the synopsis, and we read about like the staff that was on it because they had like a reveal trailer and everything. And the first response was like, "Is this fucking real? Like, how many?
This is about to break the world.
How many ridiculous ass staff members can you have on one cast?" It was like absolutely insane. You have the Death Note duo. You have Gen Urobuchi on script. It's like it's just like, okay, we're assembling Avengers. Yeah, we have Sawano on the soundtrack. It's just like, all right, we're just throwing everyone and everything at this. And so, you know, when something like this comes out, our only hope that goes through our mind is like, we really hope it's good, right? Like, it's just we really hope this is good with this level of staff on it, and most of it you would expect to be pretty strong as a result. And Bubble sits in a very interesting place, where I think it's because of the manner in which it actually, because it was on Netflix, I believe. It might even still be on Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I still feel like a lot of people have not seen this movie, despite it being accessible in the form of Netflix. It's just like a little bit more obscure than like your average, you know, Netflix anime that you might stumble across on there. But as I said before, it sits in a very interesting place where I think that in terms of audio visual, this is like one of the greatest works that's ever been produced in anime. It is actually just strictly so impressive what they've managed to do with their camera work, with the flow between scenes. There's high action scenes, there's low action scenes, the character animation. They put a lot of time and effort into how this looks and sounds, which is important because anime in and of itself is an audio visual medium. And so expressing that is like, you know, to a lot of people, it is first and foremost, right? And I don't blame them for that. On the other hand, right, the narrative side of it kind of was iffy, to say the least. And so you have this work that is extremely, I think it's really fun to watch, but when you start thinking about what is happening, what is actually going on, why are things happening to the characters, why is what is taking place, that's where it like starts to fall apart. But I will honestly say that my first watch of this was like an extremely, like, I was blown away by what they've managed to do. And you know, if there was any cast that could pull something like this off, it would be, of course, this one, because just how much talent there is, not even just on staff, like even like VA cast. They had, you know, some very prolific voice actors who weren't even doing main characters in some cases. Like sometimes the side characters were like some of the bigger names that you would come to expect, and they take a chance on newer voice actors for like some of the main characters, which was really cool to see as well. And their singing voices and whatnot, just incredible. Like Uta and Riria, what she has done on this particular work is like, it's pretty insane. And as you can see, it's like really the only thing she's done. It's the only thing that she's done.
Yeah, she's primarily like a voice, like a singer.
Yeah, a singer on like opening and ending songs for the most part. And like this was, you know, it's like one of those things where it signals all the green flags. Like, okay, the staff is insane, the studio behind it's a WIT studio work, and it was like, okay, this is one of those shows that has potential to be like greatest of all time, right? When we talk about you know, potential, there are certain works that just have such star-studded staffs that like they unlock this portion of your mind that they're like, okay, it can reach this echelon that most shows don't get the opportunity to. I felt the same way. You guys can feel free to agree or disagree with me, right? I felt the same way about Freeren, right? When Freeren came, when I looked at Freeren's staff, I was like, okay, this could be the best show ever. Like this
According to my anime list, it might be.
Yeah, no,
Furry's actually the goat.
exactly. It's like, okay, what they have that much to them. There is that much talent. There's that much reputability. All these people have been on so many successful projects in the past that like this can reach a place that like an overwhelming majority of shows couldn't even hope to scratch the surface of. And so this was like one of those for me. Unfortunately, you know, it didn't have the writing end, which is like to me very important. Like writing and script and dialogue, like that stuff is like really, really important to me. And so it didn't really hit on that end, but as I said before, there's a lot of people out there that don't watch anime for that, right? And I think that's important to recognize. Like, not everyone is watching things in this medium to delve really deep into, you know, storytelling and narrative and whatnot. Some people are there to just watch things that are pretty and to see, you know, pictures in motion and how they flow between them and be stunned visually. And I think on that end, like Bubble will do that for you. Like, absolutely. I think you will be hard pressed to find another movie or show that can do it like this, that this one has. Like it is going to go down in history. I do think it is that impressive. And so like, as I said, most people, I think it's still like one of those shows that a lot of people have not taken the time to watch. But I do think it has a place, like even amongst people that aren't like super deep anime watchers. Like the parkour element and everything, I think is something that's interesting to people. Obviously it's been represented in other media as well, with like, you know, parkour games like Mirror's Edge and whatnot. It's like something that interests people. People like seeing people do flips and jump over buildings and shit. Clearly that shit's cool to them, so why not watch an anime for them, you know? Why not give it a chance? But yeah, I wanted to bring this one up because while it may not be it might not be like the 9 or the 10 that we give to some of the other movies that we have on our lists. I do think it is it's pretty important. Like I think it is worth noting when we talk about, you know, films and their impact on the industry as a whole. This one is still in my mind despite being, you know, maybe lower scored than some of our favorites.
I remember when I was like watching this film, like, so you talk about like audio. A lot of people watch anime for audio-visual stuff.
Yeah,
of course. Like, you know, it's audio-visual medium. Like they only really care about how does it look and sound, and like, you know, the story, like, you know, whatever. Like if you got like a simple thing to follow through, but it looks and sounds great, that could be enough for a lot of people, which is totally valid. But I remember watching this and I'm like, man, this show kind of like, or this movie kind of like blew its load really early, because the first scene was like insane, and then like all these scenes were like insane, but it just kind of like kept being like the same thing. I was like, all right, like, because so for Heaven's Feel 3, or for just Heaven's Feel in general, it's like Heaven's Feel like went insane early, right? And then it just keeps going crazier, and like, all right, there's like no limit to like how these people do. And I feel like with this, it was like, yo, that was sick. And then like, you know, 10 minutes later, it's like, yo, that was sick, and just kind of like stayed at the same level.
And then also 3 movies as opposed to this being one. So
I don't know, man. There's more than one fight in the Heaven's Feel movies, and they just keep getting crazier.
I'm just saying it is 3 separate films.
They're also
different opportunities to wow you and you know, one up themselves. You know,
it's also a different type of crazy, right? Like if you're talking about like battles and like scaling up, like it's I think there's more of a clear progression. I think this movie in particular, one of the things that was the coolest for me was their synchronization. There were like a lot of cases where they would have a leitmotif in the like the theme of the actual like main theme of the movie musically, and they would find ways to intertwine that with the scene that was going on, and a lot of the time there were like really cool synchronization moments that would happen during it, or it would be reoccurring, and you know, that's something that like to a music nerd I really appreciated. I was like, this is really fucking cool. Haven't really seen many shows like go that hard on that end. But you know, again, it's like something that it might be considered pretty niche. Like there's not that many people that are super big music nerds like me and Jeffrey. Like it just, you know,
I thought it was cool though. I thought it was cool. Like
I thought the soundtrack for like it's Sawano, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, Sawano.
Yeah, I thought it was super good, but I feel like This is probably just me not knowing enough about music.
You're such a
Exactly
hater,
what you were
bro.
gonna say, Miguel. I'll just let you know that.
Dude, the beeps and boops just like kept beeping and booping. Like they felt the same. Like every fucking soundtrack.
That's
I
what
was
you
like,
get a motif, Miguel. Like,
I don't know. I was listening.
Miguel once said like about this like film that like it's like the same like beeps and boops, like, you know, if you've ever like watched the film, you know, like the dun 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 dun,
Mhm.
and then like that is like in every like single song, or at least like most of them. But it's cool because like it iterates every single time, like it's different contexts and like,
Russian.
you know,
I'm not
Yeah,
smart enough, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
you don't need to be smart. You can be like, oh, I heard this before, and now it's like in a different context, and like, oh, that's cool.
Miguel, how can you say that when you think the Air Gear OST is
Air
gas?
Gear's fire, dude.
Oh my god, it does the same thing, bro. What are you talking about?
I like the music in Bubble. I listen to it like regularly, but I just think that every song I have the entire playlist on my OST playlist. That came out so bad. I have the entire soundtrack on my playlist that is just OST music, but all of them are functionally the same to me.
My dude
I'm just
cannot handle progression of a musical motif. That's insane.
Okay, look, Air Gear is fire. That's what it's like.
You're such a backwards person, bro.
Me?
Yes, you do.
What I do?
Anywho, next
Of
film.
this conversation.
All right, who's going next?
Oh man.
You want to start back at Jeffrey?
Might as well circle back to me, I guess.
Okay. Who's your second?
Yeah, for my second pick of the day, I'm going with a film that I know for a fact that so few people have seen, and maybe even less have heard of. So it's Pompo, the Cinephile. So if you just type Pompo, you'll probably get it. Yeah, first one.
Eiga Daisuki.
Yeah,
This is not the first time I've heard you talk about this movie.
Dude, I freaking like love this movie. So like this is something that will need an introduction because, like I said, this film is probably something that like maybe 10 people have seen. Pompo this, yeah, like I mean, if you just look at that number, that's
Was this not like a
staggeringly low.
successful movie? I thought this
No,
was
it
like,
wasn't. I'll talk about that. For like, believe me, I'll talk about that.
Oh wow, that's good.
So, Pompo, the Cinephile, which is the English title for this film, is a 2021 anime film produced by Studio Clap, which is a relatively new anime film studio that was like established in 2016. Directed by Takayuki Hirao and based on the manga by Shogo Sugitani. So, as the name implies, like the English name, Pompo the Cinephile, it is a film about films, making them, in fact. So the story follows Jean Finney, who is a fledgling production assistant, who is suddenly given his first directorial movie project by his boss, the titular Pompo, who is a very accomplished movie producer. The film depicts Jean as he really scrambles to like find his footing as like a first-time movie director, experiencing like the trials and tribulations associated with movie making, and coming to terms with the immense amount of self-sacrifice that is required to become a brilliant artist and a strong creative leader. This film is very much like a love letter to like the art of filmmaking, and I think it will resonate with anybody who has ever pursued an artistic career in any capacity, or has ever, heavily immersed themselves in a creative project, no matter how big or small.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say right off the bat that I highly recommend watching it if you haven't seen it, which I know for a fact that most people have not.
21,000
Yeah.
popularity, bro. No
That's
one
a
has
lot.
seen this movie.
I don't even like want to put that number into perspective, but like the most popular things get like 300, 400, 500,000, and that is not bad. So
Math.
that's math, yeah.
How did we watch
Well,
this movie?
math.
Like, how did this movie come on our radar? I don't even remember.
I heard of it and I wanted to watch it, and that's all I know about it, and it ended up being really good. So so yeah, this film is extremely overlooked and did not see much success upon its release. For one, painfully obvious reason. It got fucked by COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone remembers the peak of the pandemic in 2020, which was the year that Pompo was actually supposed to have its theatrical release. But as you can imagine, COVID delayed the production, and the film had to settle for a summer 2021 release in Japanese theaters, which a lot of people were still not encouraged to go to because COVID was still running rampant.
It's still,
yeah, definitely not something that you could ignore like a year after even. So, Pompo eventually saw an extremely limited theatrical release in the United States in spring 2022, which, in true anime films in the United States fashion, was only 2 days. So, so on the off chance that you even heard about this film in the first place, were interested in seeing it, but not available for either of those days, too bad. Sucks to suck. It's just how it is, and unfortunately, the streak of bad luck for Pompo continues because, at this point, it's been 3 years since its initial theatrical release, and it has never once been made available on any streaming platform. And you know what that means. It means the only way to legally experience this film is to buy the Blu-ray. We love buying the Blu-ray, not...
Which is definitely what we did.
Yeah, definitely what we did to see this film, yeah. To be fair, the Blu-ray is not terribly expensive compared to like most other anime films that are legally locked behind Blu-ray reviewing. When I checked a few days ago, because I was actually curious about this, the Pompo Blu-ray was hovering around $16. But even then, if you really think about it, $16 is like more than you would be paying for pretty much any streaming service that gives you access to like way more anime films than just this one. So I think it's painfully clear that buying the Blu-ray is still a pretty big inconvenience for most people, which likely means that they ain't watching the film. Just to put it simply.
If you're inconvenienced in any way, they just won't do it.
Yeah, any amount of resistance when it comes to like consuming media is just people will not take that step.
Yeah, especially nowadays where attention spans are so low, they'll just click onto whatever is immediately available.
It costs money, bro. That's a deal breaker.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this is all to say that Pompo has been in the accessibility abyss for its entire existence, and the chances that it would have been a commercially successful anime film at its release were already extremely low given like the COVID circumstances. So it makes sense why it is pretty much faded into obscurity before it even got a chance in spotlight. However, none of that speaks to the actual quality of the film, which I'm happy to report is fantastic. Like, I love this film a whole lot, and I think it's an awesome film that really showcases what makes anime films so special and how much like creative freedom that the filmmaking team has in depicting whatever they want, really, however they want, and it's so fitting that like this film is centered around depicting the creative process of making a film in like a very whimsical fashion. So like this film is like filled with like flourishes of eccentric and like spontaneous animation whenever it's exploring an aspect of the creative process, whether that be like conjuring like the vision for a film or shooting scenes from different camera angles and considering like the atmosphere and lighting, like making changes to the script whenever you feel it's necessary, or like the heavily involved process of like cutting and editing a film into something that is like concise and coherent. All of these different steps in the creative process are imbued with such imaginative imagery that it gives the film a very impressive degree of like visual variety that keeps like the watching experience fun and fresh the entire way through. you know, every time I watch this film, I watched this like recently, just like to prepare for this podcast. I could not help but smile ear to ear because I can tell that the people who made this film were really having the time of their lives, like bringing their crazy and wacky ideas to fruition on the big screen. You know, the filmmaking team really saw like this film as like a blank canvas, so to speak, that they could really do anything with. And they definitely like jumped at the opportunity to like really give this film a unique visual identity, you know, while at the same time depicting a creative process that, you know, they undoubtedly have firsthand experience with, being filmmakers themselves. And you know, speaking of that process, you know, this film about making films, you would expect there to be like some form of like meta commentary present in the film, and you would be correct in thinking that. This film has a lot to say about what goes into making a film, and in a lot of ways, it practices what it preaches. You know, there are the expected parts, such as like, you know, gathering the film crew, like finding the best actors for roles, like location scouting, marketing, financial sponsorships, like all of the things that typically go on in like the background of filmmaking. However, the aspect of filmmaking that is pushed the most as like a focal point of the narrative is making a film that thoroughly conveys the vision of the creative leaders while keeping it short enough to respect the audience's time. And we talked about this a bit, like when we were talking about like all of our films, with like, you know, when I talk about A Silent Voice, like it's about condensing the whole experience into something that is like, you know, digestible. So this film makes it a point to say that making films that exceed 2 hours in runtime is, you know, in some ways inconsiderate to the audience, as it should not be like an expectation for everybody to have like that long of an attention span. And as such, it is a challenge for the director to carefully like strike a balance between the length of the film and saying everything that they want to say in the film. In other words, like the director really needs to make firm judgments of like what content is essential and not essential to their vision of the film, and make adjustments and cuts accordingly. And that may seem extremely difficult to do in like the moment, but at the end of like that whole process, following that philosophy will result in a film with a clear focus and powerful storytelling for like every second of its runtime. And it's really funny because like in the film, Pompo, the character, expresses that she believes the ideal movie runtime is 90 minutes. And wouldn't you know it, like as if it were like intentional, this film landed almost perfectly around 90 minutes. It's like an hour and a half plus 4 minutes, which is the credits. So if you take out the credits, it's like exactly 90 minutes. And I think that's pretty poetic, because this film in some ways became the film that the characters within it were trying to make. It was like a concise, coherent, and enthralling experience condensed into a 90-minute package for the audience to enjoy. And that to me is like so fucking cool. Like just like how it really like imagines the creative process as like such like this cool thing, but also like a very like difficult and demanding thing. And being able to fit all of that into 90 minutes is so impressive. So yeah, like Pompo is an outstanding film that I would highly recommend like watching if you have access to it, however you go about doing that, because like I said, it's not streaming anywhere, and so you have the Blu-ray and that's it. So no other options.
You really hate the fucking
the option we can promote.
Yeah. God.
You might be able to find, you know, a distributor.
Yes, we will not tell you
hard-
where this distributor might be, but if you look hard enough, you might find something. Also, Nollywood is really funny on the
Yeah,
TV.
Nollywood. Yeah, there's a lot of that. So like, yeah. Yeah. great film. Would definitely like wish more people would see it because, like I said, like this film left no legacy for sure. Not
Mhm.
like the few people who have seen it, like they enjoy it. I think I enjoy it more than most people because I love like works about creativity and like showing the whole creative process, especially when it's like done in such like a meta way, like it was in this film.
Mhm.
It's if you like Shirobako, you'll definitely like this movie a
That's
lot.
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. Like I love Shirobako and I love the Shirobako film, but I would be lying in saying that like I think this film did the whole like movie making process probably more justice than Shirobako the movie. So yeah, if you like Shirobako, it's definitely something that you can check out if you like that stuff. So
Cool. All right. So who was next in the order? It was Miguel, right?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
What was your
So-
second, brother?
It was a Maquia, which did end up with M-A-Q-U-I-A.
M-A-Q.
M-A-Q-U-I-A.
I was like,
yes. Where it's the Sayonara no Asa ni.
oh,
Yeah,
that
2018,
Okay.
that one.
bro. Wait, what? Is it just is it short and Roman
Yeah, 'cause
dictation? Like what? Oh,
What the fuck is the full name?
Okay,
Promise
okay.
Flower? Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
like, bro, what? There's no Maquia in this title at all.
Maquia when the promise flower blooms.
Yes.
Is
Long
this
ass
is this Danmachi?
Bro, you
Let me
stop.
Don't insult me. Don't do this.
Are you sure that wasn't Sword Art Online?
I guess that is like a thing to talk about. Fucking fantasy that's not isekai, which we are a fan of,
True.
because there's so many good things that can be done in like fantasy that's not isekai. But then like isekai settings just get thrown into things a lot of times because it tends to be what people like.
Shout out
Sad.
PA work. Sorry, what you got to say about this movie, brother?
So I like I said, I talked about a little bit about it earlier, where the whole thing of like selfless motherhood, where I guess to reiterate, anyone who wasn't here or doesn't remember, it's Maquia, the titular character, is an Eorf. So they're basically like functionally immortal, or if not immortal, they live an insanely long time, like super long lifetime. But they stop aging, like their appearance wise, like during like adolescence.
Mm-hmm.
And in this like war-torn situation where like humans love immortality, so they're trying to like harvest them and try to get their immortal like genes and just trying to get them basically. And then Maquia ends up taking Ariel, and look, pretty much takes them, a human, as like pretty much her son, but he's a human, she's a Eorf, so it's like not exactly.
Ariel's parents died as like part of like a battle, and he was like pretty much like an infant, like a newborn infant when she found him. So that's the
And
context.
so she kind of made the choice: is like, do I leave this person in this like war ravaged area, or do I just take them myself? And you know what? So she did, and she basically becomes like the mother to him. And the like weird thing is, one of my favorite themes in like not just anime but just like storytelling in general is the passage of time. It's part of the reason why I love Frieren so much. It's part of the reason why I thought 2 Year Eternity was going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Which it was for like exactly like
one
one
episode.
Yeah. and it's just something that I personally find extremely interesting to watch. So you get to like see Ariel grow and Maquia not, which is like the weird thing for Ariel to experience. It's like, oh, I have like a 15-year-old mother, like or like appearing 15-year-old mother, and just like watching like her like going through her sacrifice and all this like passage of time of this baby growing old, going through like this not great like war ravaged world, but she's just kind of like able to pass on normally, like showing like how do you cherish like the fleeting moments of life for her, because like like going back to like Frieren, and like a human's lifespan to Frieren is like pretty much a blink of an eye. Like there was like that one episode where it's like, all right, how long can we stay here? And it's like 2 weeks, like 70 years or whatever the fuck absurd number she says. Because like so it's like just showing like the disparity between the two, like human characters and the functionally immortal characters that we have, and like what makes life like great for them despite like it being like so insignificant, like everyone around you, because like they're just gonna like kind of die, and I'm not. It's sad. And there's another Eorf character I want to mention because she basically serves like a juxtaposition of like I was about to say Furin of Maquia. So her name is Lelia. Yeah, there you go. So she's another Eorf who just has like the tragic backstory to Maquia, where she was kind of like taken, and they forced her to be a mother because they wanted to like get the like immortal genes. You know, like the humans wanted to produce an heir that had like the longevity of Eeyores. I don't think they're immortal, but I think they just live an insanely long time. So you know that whole thing of like humans wanting like, yo, you can live forever. We can get so much done. So
if something like this happened IRL, this would also happen. Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, the guy.
So it's like the juxtaposition of like those two characters. Like you have like Maquia gets to live like the beautiful life, like being a mother to someone that she chose. You know, it's like, oh, how do I become a mother to like this human? But then Lelia is like, you know, forced and kidnapped, forced and produced into a not great situation. And the landscapes in the show are like really good because the homeland of like the Eeyores is like beautiful and like, I guess just a typical like beautiful landscape, and you're just like, it's untarnished pretty much. But then like the human side is like not great. It's just fucking war ravaged and shit, to like say the least. It's
humans fuck up everything. Like, the story.
Yeah, pretty much. Humans suck. Fucking. Why don't we just all be elves that live forever? It's great. And I guess like avoiding more like the spoilery stuff, like I was talking about before. Just seeing this like passage of time, the beauty of motherhood, and then again, let's finish talking about Madoka, where we just going to the director towards the end, like we did the first time.
I mean, you chose some pretty good directors for discussion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So many things. Oh my god.
Hello?
What the hell was that?
Brother?
I dude entered the chamber.
Yo.
I'm back, I think. I died.
Okay, he's alive. Okay.
I died, I think.
Welcome back.
I was like, what the hell was that? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I fucking died for a second. So Madoka, she's done like some like pure jerker works before, including this one. The big one that a lot of like her super popular show is the script for Hana.
Yeah.
Which Hana, I mean, a lot of people generally pretty well received by a lot of people. It's definitely a very solid show at the least. But you can kind of there's like an argument that people can make for Hana that seems a little bit like cry porn, like cry bait.
Maquia, cry porn is fucking insane. I can't even. That was actually crazy.
You never heard cry porn before?
No, bro. What the fuck?
You've never heard that same?
Who
before?
says
crazy?
that?
I've heard it before. I don't know.
I've heard torture porn before, but not cry porn. What the fuck is that?
Bad.
What is it?
It sounds so bad.
I'll throw you a bone. I've heard of it, so you know.
Okay, bro.
People use the term.
This is crazy.
I'm dying. Am I back?
I can't even imagine someone saying that unironically, bro. I don't know.
I forgot where else.
I'm sorry. That was just
Madoka specializes in like emotional writing. You know.
Yeah.
Miguel.
Is he in a tunnel?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there. Oh,
he's in the void.
Oh my god, he's actually in the gulag right now.
Where were you when Miguel fucking died?
Anyways, I guess I'll say just like a little bit about Madoka, but like Miguel said, she's pretty famous for writing on Hana, and like since then she's really.
Am I back?
Yes, you're back. She's made a name for herself for her emotional writing, and that could sometimes like be like a hit or miss depending on like the person watching. Like some people are like very resistant to feeling emotions, and some people are very open to it. And so her works have been pretty decisive over the years. But I think I think many people who have like seen Maquia like know that like that film is probably like her magnum opus at this point. Like it was her first time as a director of a film. So like before she was primarily like a scriptwriter for all of these works that she like has her name on, but like now she's like, you know, in the director seat, and it was definitely like a movie that moved a lot of people who watched it, including myself and Miguel, obviously. So
I'm sorry I died.
I'll forgive you eventually.
That was like, I guess, the main gist of it.
Yeah.
Fucking timing killed me.
But yeah, I think Maquia is like really cool because again, like going back to like what Miguel said about like the passage of time, you know, like it pretty much, and not trying to spoil it, but it pretty much like depicts like an entire like human life over the course of what, 2-ish hours. I forget how long this movie is exactly.
It is
2 hours.
A little short of 2 hours. Wow. Okay. But yeah, it does a really great job depicting like the entirety of like a human life in that time span, and you know, really connecting you to the characters and their stories and their personal journeys. You know, trying to like find themselves in this world that they have like either been like thrust into, or like, you know, they're just like trying to like make the best of it and just trying to like live life however they see fit. And yeah, like it's hard to like speak on like the emotional like impact of anything without just telling you to watch it, but it really is like a very like evocative film about like, you know, ephemerality and motherhood. So yeah, definitely like a good recommendation for anybody who thinks that they're down for that. I'll also add that so this film was pretty overshadowed the year that it came out. So as you can see, it released like pretty early on into 2018, and you know, that was like around the time when people like who were interested in it like went to see it. And but you know, being at the beginning of the year is like sometimes a disadvantage because you don't have like the recency bias when it comes to talking about like at the end of the year, like, you know, what was the best thing that year, or in this case, like what is the best movie of like 2018. Good.
I was gonna say there's also something more to add on to this that that kind of explains why releasing at the beginning of the year is also harder. So for those of you who don't know, the way that companies spend marketing budget, it's very backloaded. So like at the end of the year, during the holiday season, October to December, most companies will devote the largest portion of their marketing budget to it because they're maximizing in terms of like media and whatnot, because people have off of work and they're sitting at home more, and they have more free time to spend with family, and so they're more likely to do recreational activities like going to see movies and whatnot. And this is just, I'm just giving this perspective as a content creator because this also comes up in this realm as well. And so at the beginning, like that end of the year support like cuts off in January. Like it just straight up full stop. Like it usually goes from the most loaded marketing budget at the end of the year to the smallest for the first quarter of the new year. And so like that also plays a part of like why like having something released so early into the year is so hard, because it is often often marketed much less as compared to something that is released towards the end of the year, which is just adding a little bit of more extra context for you there.
Yeah, for sure. So like
I've never heard of that, but it makes sense.
Last thing I'll say is like not that we put any like that much like stock into this, but like the Crunchyroll Anime Awards like during the year of 2018 famously did not even nominate this for like contender for best anime film of the year. Instead they chose to nominate instead they chose to nominate things like the My Hero Academia movie.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Oh my god.
And to some people they may not even like, you know, bat an eye at that, but for the people who like actually went to see this film, they're like, how could you not nominate at the very least nominate it or like give it any sort of recognition? And so it has historically been like a pretty overlooked film, but I think you know, what at this point, like 6 years like after its initial release, I think it's garnered like definitely like a good reputation as being like a very like emotional journey that I think most people would, you know, take something away from it and like, you know, really feel their own emotions through it.
So insane, bro.
Like watch it like ready to like be vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's just pure coincidence I happen to pick two movies like with the motherhood. But they're both like so great and they both make you feel like such things. It's represented a little bit differently. But if you're like ready to like be vulnerable watching it, it's like it's just a beautiful, gorgeous movie.
I mean, I'm here for it, but some people get very very squeamish when it comes to things like that.
No,
Yeah,
my emotion.
Yeah. I feel nothing. I don't want
I'm
to
supposed
feel.
to be strong.
If that's the case, then I have the movie for you.
You're doing Redline, right?
let's go.
Redline.
Oh,
What a
dude,
cool
all of your
movie.
transitions are fucking godlike today, Bobby.
Dude, I'm just being set up. It's so
Oh.
easy.
Let's go racing.
Redline. Forget everything we've talked about already. Don't worry about it. Redline is not like that. Basically, this movie is one of the ultimate rule of cool. Like this is just straight adrenaline pumping, super hyped up. This movie is just fucking hype incarnate. Essentially, this is like so I was looking into the details because they're always so hazy. It's a 7-year production. This movie was made over the course of 7 years. It was completely hand drawn. We think CGI is not that bad. If you hate CGI, who cares? This movie has 0 CGI. It is literally all like 100,000 frames of hand drawn animation. This shit is a like literal visual spectacle. Not to shit on CGI, but I am saying that if you are a hater, the people who made this, they must have similar values to you, brother, because they fucking said nah. We have the human touch in every frame. What?
Love it. It's crazy because like I think like, you know, like this is clearly a film about racing. If there is anything that is like going to like be like CGI in anime, it's definitely
right,
like
yeah.
cars and vehicles.
Cars.
You know?
That's true. That's definitely true.
And so
Bobby's experienced this firsthand.
yeah, I was like, yeah, Bobby and Dylan are going through initial D right now, or Dylan is imposing initial D onto Bobby,
PS2
but I think he's enjoying
cars.
it. So, but yeah, it says a lot when an entire film about racing has 0 CGI. Like that is like unheard of.
Yeah, it's just this entire film is like it's a visual spectacle. And what's crazy, talking about low recognition, because it was so expensive to produce this film, it actually tanked in the box office. Redline is basically a commercial disaster for Madhouse. But you know, once it came out on Blu-ray and once more people started discovering Redline, they were like, wait a second, this is kind of fire. I have like rewatched this movie like several times, and there's just certain moments that just never failed to hit for me. And like, it's not it's I love being pretentious. I love super deep, super like
True?
way out of control. Like, yeah, dude, I could like look into this shit for decades and be okay.
Preach.
But Redline never promised me that. I never expected it of Redline, and it's given me everything I could have wanted. This shit is just fucking sick.
It is pretty fucking based. We watched it a few days ago.
Cars go
Really?
fast. It's wacky races, but anime. It's fire.
It almost feels like a Trigger production, but it's not. It's actually Madhouse, which I found super surprising for some
Yeah,
reason.
Headed by Takeshi Koike.
my man. Look at him. He looks so unbothered.
This is the face of somebody who like reset production like halfway through. He's like, we redo it, do it again. It's not good enough.
No. Let's get this fucking right. Yeah, I think he's worked on a bunch of like things that people may have heard of. Super like known for hyper stylistic stuff, like
Lupin.
Yeah, he worked on Lupin. He was big on Samurai Champloo as well as Afro Samurai.
Yo,
Yeah, stylistically,
So this
those
guy-
are like very standout.
He's got a
for sure.
type. He's got a type
Yeah,
of show.
he does. He does have a type.
Yeah.
For sure. He's just trying to make cool shit, bro. He's like,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
be cool
Why
by
are
any
two,
means
why are there
necessary.
two red lines there, Bobby?
Why are
Uh,
there two red lines?
It's like a movie or right? It's a
Oh,
special.
pilot,
Sorry,
bro.
rather.
There's so yeah,
5
so
minutes
there's like
special.
certain characters who are like technically in like some OVA that doesn't matter, but it's Redline. I
Saying
think
that this is its own unique entry on this site.
Yeah, it says Redline
Travel-
pilot, so
oh,
5-minute OVA
Travel
special.
Fist
before
Planet.
and
That's what I was thinking about actually. That's different.
stuff.
If you go to Travel Fist Planet, I think you can
this is something
see.
different.
Yeah, go down.
Side story.
It was in 2002.
Wow.
Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, this is like there are characters in this that are featured in Redline. So if you care about that at all,
Okay, that's cool.
but this is from 2002 and not 2009, 7 years
Yeah.
later when Redline
Yeah,
was made.
holy.
But if you consider this part
7-year
of it,
production time. Coincidence?
But if you think about it in a sense, like if you can include that production too, you know, maybe Redline is closer to like 8 or 9 years. Who knows? But
Hey, man.
The
Yeah,
definition of let them
Redline-
cook.
yeah, honestly, like you just have to fucking watch Redline for like 10 seconds for you to be like, I get it, bro. it's just like there is no real way to tell you about Redline in a way that will be me faithfully letting you know why you should be watching Redline. You should just watch Redline and then decide for yourself after 15 seconds, damn, this is fire. Because it is.
I know a lot of people that would really like this movie.
Absolutely. Everything that we've been talking about, who fucking cares? Throw it out the window. This is not that
This is a
movie.
fighting game player ass movie to watch.
Yes, sir.
You can literally just like thrust this onto somebody, and there's a good chance that they might enjoy it. You know,
True.
without saying
I go
anything else
watch
about
this. Okay.
Yeah, no context offered. Just go ahead and watch this, bro. You got an hour and 43 minutes to set aside, bro. I got
Yeah.
you. I get
And just like you could watch cars. If you think racing is boring, who the fuck cares? This is anime racing.
True.
Y'all don't get it.
it's almost yeah, it's kind of what is it? It's like warfare racing too.
Oh yeah, they got weapons.
They will be shooting at each other with weapons. It's almost
like
what is
Mad
it?
Max-ish type of deal.
Mad Max Twisted Metal, I think.
Borderlands
This-
type deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
The double
Violence.
Magic.
Violence.
Just the shaking of the car is violent, bro. Oh my.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Redline. And it's like it's a work where it's like you can appreciate the beauty of it like within seconds. You know, it's one of those.
You like
And it's-
immediately get it.
Yeah, like you can watch like just the opening scene and you'll be like, okay, I'm in.
I understand.
Oh yeah, you should watch this in dub. By the way, the dub is
Okay.
great. It's
Watch
incredible.
it in dub, ladies and
You
gentlemen.
should watch it in dub.
Do they have their
Or you
They
could
do.
start in the sub
Yeah.
and switch 10 minutes in.
All right, hold up.
You did
brother?
that?
Excuse me? Like
They did that when Miguel watched it for the first time. Like Bobby was like acquiring the film.
Ah.
I
And
downloaded it.
I said
I
I wanted to
realized-
watch the sub. And he's like, well, we're going to start. I'm like, what the fuck? No. And then
then he started to acquire the dual audio version.
That's so
and,
funny.
Like 15 minutes in, they switched over and like, what the fuck? This shit's fire.
except we went back like 7 minutes anyway. So like we just
Yeah.
watched the entire like first scene again.
That's so
basically.
funny.
The dub just has this one line where I'm like, dude, this is fucking fire. If you rewatch it over and over again, oh my god, dude. Patrick Seitz he's God.
All right. So next would be
Speaking of
Dylan's
fun-
second. Yeah.
Dylan.
The Night is Short Walk On Girl is a pretty fun film.
Yes.
I don't know if this is an appropriate way to find it.
Yeah,
Oh,
there
yeah.
it is.
Okay.
Switching from
I was
perfect
actually
blue to
worried.
this.
I was
Kind of funny.
Yeah, that
Nice
is funny.
blue. Let's make it red, baby.
What provoked that, by the way?
I was just thinking about Yuasa and this film. I was like, I like this film a lot. Might as well talk about it. I think this is the first time we've actually really discussed this.
Yeah,
Podcast.
sure.
We've talked
for
about
sure.
Perfect
We've definitely
Blue.
talked about Perfect Blue. Yeah.
Yeah, so from the same guys that brought you Tatami Galaxy is a spiritual successor in the form of a film. The Night is Short, Walk On Girl. So it follows a guy in college as he attempts to romantically court this girl, the black-haired girl, as she's called. We never learned her name, and so it's just kind of a really fun kind of, I'm not gonna say adventure. It almost feels like an adventure, with the way they depict things, but kind of a fun just film about these two and their shenanigans throughout college. So if you've ever seen like Tatami Galaxy, I almost kind of describe it as like it's Tatami Galaxy, but like just way more fun, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, it still has like that same like kind of like really bright color aesthetic that you saw from Tatami Galaxy. It's a lot of the absurdist stuff from that show is kind of also incorporated here, but a lot of the scenarios kind of seem fantastical at times too.
Mhm.
It's just a really fun movie, I feel like.
I mean, that's valuable. Also, like, obviously, people are probably pretty big on Science Saru right now because of Dan and everything.
Yeah.
So.
This is actually their first work. I think their first solo work.
I was gonna say that too. This is like the debut work of Science Saru, which is the film that Masaki Yuasa founded. Because like Tatami Galaxy was produced by Madhouse, you know.
Yep.
But you know, Yuasa said like, yo, I can do a lot if I have my own studio and my own staff. So that prompted him to like want to found his own studio, which eventually became Science Saru, and this was the debut work of that studio.
It's kind of insane how there's such a recurring trend of, yeah, this dude made this movie, they made their own studio to make their own movie. Like, there's something about anime films that really like encapsulate like the feelings of freedom in their production and creation.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Ano did it kind of technically with what Studio Kara.
Ano
the
did it.
rebuilds.
It was basically Miyazaki's.
Also, really, like super obscure, interesting fact is Gen Hoshino, who voices Senpai here. He so two things. First of all, if you've never heard of Gen Hoshino, he did the ending to the first Spy Family season, which is a fucking incredible song. But he only does voice acting roles on movies. he doesn't do VA roles in like anything but movies. I'm like looking through his, if you like go through his history, like it's all movies, and he doesn't have that many of them. The only one that is not a movie is like this random 20-minute OVA, but I think everything else is like actually films. Is like
He doesn't have the time for it.
he just
like,
it's only works that are one-off like animated works.
yeah, it's like, huh.
What's the difference between an OVA and a movie, really?
Length?
Yeah, well, some movies are even like categorized as ONA or OVA depending on circumstances, right? Like I'm pretty sure, like Bubble was listed as ONA. It wasn't even listed as
Netflix
movie.
airing.
Yeah,
beginning. Premiered on Netflix.
What's in a
human
name?
Construct.
Yeah,
it's all human construct.
A social construct. It's not real.
I'm sorry.
It can't hurt you.
Yeah, I think the cool part about this film, like The Night is Short, Walk On Girl, is as Dylan mentioned, it's like really like a spiritual successor to the art style and like the narrative format of the Tatami Galaxy. But it's also like so different in terms of like narrative format, because like Tatami Galaxy, if you've ever seen it, it's very like sporadic. It jumps all over the place episode to episode. and
It's-
some people it's like really really hard to follow. Like the text moves so fast. It's
Because
really,
it
like,
is.
that type.
Yeah, no,
It's hard to
flows
follow for
by,
anyone.
like, yeah.
It's a skill check show.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, dude, what a way to put it. I'm going to start using that.
We might have to coin this term, bro.
But yeah, it's just a very fast paced, like artistically dense watching experience. And this being like a movie, because you know, as we said, like throughout this podcast, that like you have to like really like condense your themes and like your presentation into like one like cohesive experience. And The Night is Short is definitely like, it's really like how you would imagine Tatami Galaxy to be translated into film. It's just like it is still like very sporadic and it's still very snappy with its narrative choices and its like visual direction. But you know, it does feel like one connected experience like throughout the whole way through, and I feel like it's definitely like a nice change of pace if you like maybe like Tatami Galaxy was like too hard to follow. You don't technically need to watch Tatami Galaxy to watch this. It's definitely like its own separate thing. There are some
There's some crossover characters.
yeah, there's some crossover characters, but it really is its own like isolated
My
experience.
boy
if you
Big Chin.
really want
He's
to
always got to be
yeah,
around.
dude.
Sir.
Higuchi, the
Like
goat,
fucking goat.
bro.
The
Fucking
fucking
eggplant
goat.
head.
Originally introduced as deity of matrimony. Is a crazy first way to be like, this is this guy.
This dude's the fucking goat, bro.
Yeah, I think narratively it stretches itself across like a bigger variety of scenarios. Because like with Tatami Galaxy, it's like the scenarios will like it will like Jeffrey said, it'll be like episodic and it'll be like different from episode to episode, but there's like a general format kind of structure to how like the show is done. Because like usually in the show by the end of the episode there's a turn back and we're kind of repeating the same story beats all over again in just like a different format.
How dare you?
I can feel like that. You can feel that way sometimes.
No, you're oh man, I feel like you know that this movie contributes to. There's probably some people that get really confused about you know this series in particular and how it ties into Tatami and you know this Time Machine Blues. Like, okay, all these shows look like they're the same thing, but they're not. But they are, but they're not.
It's the same same original creator, same artist.
Different
I feel
studios
like
in some cases. Like some are mad at
Oh, that's
Science
not-
are like.
I think Time Machine Blues is probably the easiest one to like get into. If you're trying to like get into it and be like, yo, would I not necessarily enjoy this, but like easiest to follow too? Because Tatami Galaxy is just super sporadic. It's like that's like definitely the hardest one to fucking watch.
I think you
How
kind
you
of need
felt?
to watch Tatami Galaxy for Time Machine Blues, though. Like, definitely more so than you would need if you were to watch like A Night of Short Walk On Girl, because like the characters are literally the same. But
Yeah.
I guess it's not completely necessary.
Yeah, I mean, like you could forego it if you really, really wanted to, but honestly, if you're gonna commit to one, I definitely recommend you watch them all. At
Yeah.
this point, like, especially because they're not. I mean, as we're showing, not all of them are like such big of a time commitment. Like this is hour and a half. Time Machine Blues is six.
Like
Was
2
six
hours.
Wait, how many?
Yeah,
How
it's
many
like-
episodes? Time Machine.
Time Machine
Blues?
Blues 6
It's
It
episodes.
was long. It was longer eps, but it was less amount. I think, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
6
no.
episodes. No, 6 episodes, 18 minutes. So really not that big of a. I think their first episode was longer. Was what I'm thinking of, or something. Or was it their last one? I don't know. One of the episodes on this is longer than the others, but I can't remember which one it was. I think one of them is a double, but not huge time commitments in each cases, but definitely one of those things where there are gonna be people that maybe try and then they have no fucking clue what's going on. They have no idea what is transpiring on their screen. It's
I know it's the same characters, but I feel like if you just hopping into Tatami Galaxy,
Mm.
it could just be like a difficult watch for people where it's like, what the fuck is going on? Where
yeah,
Time Machine Blues at least is I I don't want to say
one thing that's going on.
Yeah,
really.
one thing that's going on. It
that's
just,
true.
but it's
I don't know. I think it does people well to like kind of broaden their horizons on that end, though.
Yeah. You probably should just watch all of it, but yeah.
The people are scared, bro. They'd be scared. They'd be scared.
Don't be scared, bro.
They'd be
I
like,
mean,
they only want to watch
scary,
things
though.
that are familiar to them, bro. You just,
You
so
open
you
up
think that leap.
episode 1 of like Tatami Galaxy, and they're immediately throwing word salad at you. Like they're going like a million miles.
No,
an
it's
hour
fast. It's
immediately.
definitely fast. Yeah, that's true. But you shouldn't let that stop you, though. You got to keep going.
Yeah. I think a lot of people like owe it to themselves to experience the works of Masaki Yuasa, and that is to say, like, things like or Tatami Galaxy, Night of Short Walk on Girl, like Time Machine Blues, like those are all like very synonymous with like his style that he has like spent years honing. And I definitely think it's his best film for sure. Like he's directed a few films in the past, but The Night of Short Walk on Girl I think is like the best representation of what he has done in the anime industry. Just like with his like freeform direction, it's really like unmistakably his. I don't think anything over the years will like even like come close to like looking like this and like feeling like this. Until he decides to do more of it,
Yeah, I'm sure there'll probably be more at some point.
Yeah.
Very
revered director, very revered creator. Like,
nice,
you owe it to yourself to familiarize yourself with him if you like anime.
I like him because he like very clearly has an idea in mind. He doesn't let a single person stop him from doing the style that he wants to carry out, and he just keeps harping on it, and every time like, it's fucking gold, so I don't blame him.
Like, let me cook, bro. Let me cook.
Great.
Bro has original thoughts, for sure.
It's true.
I'll serve you up something you've never seen before.
Okay, so this is gonna be my last. So it is my turn, right? I think this is the last overall. All right, we're gonna talk about this one, which this is the Madoka Rebellion. So just to give some context. Madoka is a normal TV series.
Very.
Normal, quote unquote. And after it was done, they did two compilation movies, which just were like recaps. They're just retelling the story of the original TV series. And then the third movie that they came out with, which is this one, is actually canon continuation. And another one of my favorite series did exactly the same format. Made in Abyss did the same thing, 2 compilation movies, and then the third movie they're like, okay, we're gonna hit you with some shit. And Rebellion like recontextualizes the entire series as we know it, which is already insane to begin with. Madoka's world and the storytelling that they choose to express in the series is already really, really out there. Mostly in part to my favorite writer, Gen Urobuchi. His mind is just, I don't know what's up with this guy. He just be thinking up crazy shit, and you're thinking like, I don't know, are you sure that you really want to do that? And then he's like, no, just fucking send it. And he does this like pretty much every series that he's a part of. Whether it be this one or Psychopaths or
is killing me, bro.
Bro, look at this guy, dude. He's so based.
funny, bro.
He's so based.
He's like cry about it. This is like her. He's like the Harada of fucking.
Really?
Of anime. Don't ask me for shit.
Is this okay? Who cares?
It's like, did I stutter? Like that's what he's.
Yeah, but like the dude who literally does whatever he wants whenever he wants.
Yeah, and he like and that's the thing. Like he also, the way that he takes it upon himself in industry as well is he only creates when he wants to create. And his successes of the projects that he's been a part of has let him literally just fuck off whenever he wants and not do anything. And then whenever he finds that inspiration, like, oh, I want to hit people with something new, he just waltzes back in like, yeah, I'm back. Who's gonna stop me? And so Rebellion was like ultra ambitious because you're taking a series that has really, really deep world building, and it's very, very interesting. You're always asking questions about Madoka and how the world got the way it was. Where did these characters come from? Why are they so intertwined? and Rebellion expands upon that by adding a shit ton of depth to like Homura's character and her struggles and what she has gone through, while also coupling in the insane movie budget that we haven't really we haven't talked about that much, but a lot of the time on movie projects they can devote more resources to overall a shorter project, so they are allowed to like ramp up things in a way that other projects cannot on like TV series. And so Shaft, one of the GOAT studios, of course, they have already like taken it upon themselves to like do production in a way that is very, very interesting and unique. And there's so much subliminal in this series as a whole. Like there's so many things that like happen in background and like that isn't immediately obvious, but like on your second, third, fourth watch, you're like, oh shit, they actually did do this during that scene. Like that's what that meant the whole time. And so I really fell in love with that during this movie. But I think one of the most impactful parts of this as a whole, not only just like the controversial ending, which to this day like people still argue about this movie a decade later, right? We're on the verge of the sequel to this movie. They're doing another movie as a sequel. People are still arguing about what the ending of Rebellion even meant, and were we ever gonna get more? Is they just left it after 2013? It just fucked you up and then left and offered no explanation, and you were just meant to come to whatever conclusion that you wanted to yourself. And I personally, after I watched Rebellion, I thought it was done. I think we were done. I was like, oh, okay, they're just gonna leave it open-ended like this, and that's just gonna be it. And then they were just like, no fuckers, we're back, and, and now we're in the loop waiting for this shit, which should come out sometime next year. But I think the most impactful thing, right, was this scene. This transformation scene was fucking goated. And so I actually want to show it to people because it is insane. I don't know if it has volume or not.
I don't know.
Does it not? Oh, it's because I have tab muted. Okay.
It's still. I hear it.
Yeah, I don't hear it either.
You know what? I fucked up, guys. My bad. My bad.
I wasn't gonna be the one to say it. Like I turned on your stream.
It's fine. I'm running it back. We're running it back so y'all can hear it. My bad. Because the music actually like, contributes very heavily to why this scene is so sick. You guys should have it in Discord now too, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So yeah, that shit's goated.
I
And
love Shaft, bro.
it has left a lasting impact on the confines of my brain. This shit is rent free.
For sure, one of like the greatest like anime transformation sequences of all time. I'd have to
Yeah,
say. Like,
I love
Absolutely.
Shaft.
it's so cool because like just like having watched that for the first time in a while, like it's so beautiful, obviously, but it also like highlights like the underlying darkness of like the whole series.
Mhm.
Because this Madoka being a very normal anime girl franchise definitely doesn't have anything to hide or anything.
Not in the slightest.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, Shaft being able to, I mean, that's like that's always been like one of their strengths is, you put a studio like them on an original project, and they just get to like take it in whatever direction they want to. And most of the time when you put that in their hands, they're just going to do amazing work with it. And every part of this movie is just like, it's so polished. And so meaningful. Like there's no wasted motion or wasted effort in this at all. And obviously the cast on it is incredibly good. Also features one of my goated 5 anime composers, Yuki Kajiura. You might know her from some of her previous works, SAO, Demon Slayer, Madoka, obviously. She absolutely snaps during this entire movie, especially you even heard like the specific themes during the transformation themes corresponding to the personality of the girl that was transforming. It's like so fucking dope, bro. Like I love shit like that. Give me more. I've been watching the trailers for the new movie back, and I'm like, man, I don't know what the hell they're gonna do, like from a narrative sense, but based on what we've been drip fed, like it seems like we're gonna be going through it again.
Go.
Yeah.
Oh.
we definitely have high expectations for this continuation because at this point it's been like 3 years since they like initially announced it. So like this film, like the sequel film, was announced like for like the 10th anniversary of like the Madoka franchise, and so we were like, oh holy shit, it's not done. Now 3 years later, we finally like gotten a date for when it's supposed to release. It's like sometime early 2025, hopefully. Cross our fingers, like knock on wood, that is actually the well, advertisement.
It'd be like that.
Enter. But yeah, like, but going back to Rebellion, like it is like it's almost like an indescribable experience because like unless like you can like talk about like Madoka in like a non-spoiler
Yeah, good luck.
fashion, yeah, we can't good luck. So that's what makes this difficult. This film like takes everything that like you thought you knew about Madoka as like a series and really like flipped it on its head. And it is visually gripping like the entire way through. Like it does not let up at any moment. That's something that I vividly remember. Like like I have like a funny story of like how I first like experienced this film. So like like when we were in college, like all of us, we talked about anime like a whole lot, and I had told Bobby that I had watched Madoka Magica, but not Rebellion. And he's like, what the fuck do you mean?
No, he hit you with one of these. Hold on, let me.
One of these? Oh,
hold on. You guys probably, I think you'll be able to hear this. Wait, he's like, oh, you haven't watched Rebellion?
Incorrect.
Extremely loud, incorrect buzzer.
Oh my god. But yeah, like, mind you, this is when we're just like talking like through text at like 2 a.m. about something. This is like when we were
sounds about right. Yep.
But this is like, but we were on like some type of break. Like I was definitely like home for this, so we were just talking.
Okay.
And Bobby's like, "Yo, you need to like watch it right now." And me being like, the responsible like college student with definitely a very normal and responsible sleep schedule, I said, "Yo, I'm gonna do that.
Yep.
Watch me. I'll take up that offer." So at 2 a.m.
It wasn't a mistake.
Oh my god. So at 2 a.m., like I booted up this movie, and my mind was a fucking puddle by the end of it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it was just- but like I like vividly remember like just like my jaw was like on the floor. I'm like, what the fuck did I just experience? Like it was like that much of like a shocking like it was a shocking experience, like for a spoiler reason.
Greatness.
Yeah.
But it was also like an incredibly like engaging and abstract film that, you know, I don't think anything has like come close to like replicating what it has done, even to this day. Maybe the sequel will change that, but
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know.
honestly, bro, I'm feel like I said, I feel like the follow up. Like, can we just like very very quickly touch on the fact that, like, you know, Madoka itself, right, is a fucking it's a TV series and it's original, and they went to a movie to tell their story, and like and I'm sure in some people's minds they were thinking like, you know, maybe they'll go back and do another series. Like they've done other series for like their side stories. Like they've done Magia Record that we've seen, and we've even seen like the follow-up OVAs and stuff like that. And so like I think in a decent amount of people's minds, if there ever was continuation, maybe they would consider going back to TV format. They said fuck that. We're going with movie back to back. And so like if this movie has anywhere near the impact that Rebellion did, like we're gonna get fucked. We're gonna get
It's gonna
fucked
be
up
so
again.
over for us, bro.
Please, I'm so ready.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I love Chef.
They're out here, man. They're absolutely out here.
I fucking love like the TV series to like transformative movie sequel pipeline.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
it's just something that has happened to like many series that I hold near and dear to my heart. Things like Revue Starlight and like Haruhi did the same thing.
Mhm.
Evangelion.
Yeah, Evangelion. Like it's just like such a great progression for something to like, you know, have, you know, like and dude, we've talked about this like throughout the podcast, but like to have like the longer runtime like allocated to like TV series to really like lay the groundwork, and then like the movie just like gets to go ham and iterate on, you know, the content that already exists and really you know, transforms it into something like so spectacular most of the time. You know, it's like yeah, I can't get enough of it. It's such like it's like my favorite thing ever.
I like, no matter, I mean, I'm sure I would assume that this will get limited theatrical release. Like I really need to see this in theaters. Like
Absolutely.
I need to go see this in the theater. Like I will set aside anything. I will set aside anything to make sure. Cause the most important movie that I've watched in my anime career, I didn't get to go see in theaters because of COVID, right? Because Abyss 3 came out during COVID. And so like I really wanted to see that in theaters and I never got to. So like this Madoka being pretty much my second favorite series at this point, like I have to see this in theater. I have to. I cannot live if I do not see this in theaters. So I really hope it's convenient.
Yeah, whatever obligations that you would have had during that day, they are just like off the table.
Yeah, I'm putting that shit on hold, bro.
As someone who went from the State College, Penn State campus to Manville, New Jersey to watch
Oh
Keys
my
of
God.
Monogatari, I feel you, brother.
That's fucking
You know,
dedication. That's what it
I
takes,
risked it
brother.
all during peak COVID to go watch HF3. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I
That's
do
what
remember
it
you doing
takes.
that.
This shit is serious, chat. This shit
That
means
shit was
something to
worth
us.
it.
This shit means something to us.
Yeah, we better see you all in the theaters
Right.
too.
Like, but yeah, that's all we got for y'all for the cinema episode. I think Miguel had to dip a little bit early, but
He said his piece, so
yeah, this was really cool. I'm glad we finally got to do this because we've been talking about the film episode for like, I feel like it's been over a year at this point that we've had this idea. We just have never gotten around to doing it, but we finally got to do it, and I think it was valuable. It was fun.
yeah, again, I think that the timing of this cast like right now is like better than it would have been like last year or whatever, whenever we first like pitched this idea.
Mhm.
Like I said, because people are very like high on anime films at the moment, and
Yeah, I need to go
it's
watch Look
recent-
Back myself actually.
Yeah,
Yo, let's watch it
you-
right now, bro.
right
I
now?
can't, bro. I got tournament coverage to do. I will watch it soon though. I probably will do that soon because I don't want to wait too long.
You
This
should bring
backlog
back
is
like
fucking-
you should bring back like the like movie nights on like Sundays or whatever.
Yeah, I am actually gonna be like either movies or full series or whatever. Need to definitely get back in the swing.
Movie
of things
Sunday
like that.
would go.
Movies
hard,
are dope.
I feel. Yeah, there's just so
less
many
less of
them
a
that, like,
commitment. It's cool.
yeah, for sure. Dude, I fucking love anime films. This is a really fun episode for hopefully all of us to do. I hope you all enjoyed talking about your favorite anime films as much as I did.
True. Well, I don't know if any of us could enjoy it as much as you did, but it was fun.
It was fun.
But for just a quick reminder, if any of you are interested in anime and you want to surround yourself with a community of people that care as well, if you want recommendations, want to talk about your favorite shows, this or that, you can join up in the Discord. We have multiple channels dedicated to this stuff. We'd love to have you if you want to nerd out. We have watch parties pretty regularly as well, so you're more than welcome to sit in on them if that is something that interests you. Outside of that, we do have a YouTube channel. Feel free to sub to that over there. I think I'm gonna make us a Blue Sky account because that's the new hotness.
Moving on to greener pastures and bluer
Bro,
skies.
Twitter sucks, man. Twitter
So
fucking
true.
sucks. So I'll probably put some time into making that sometime soon. But whenever we come up with our next idea for the next cast, we'll be sure to let you all know. And outside of that, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, rest of your Saturday. Until next time, friend.
Until next time, indeed.
Coca-Cola, espuma.